Hello, 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 everybody. It's so good to see all of your non-existent digital faces in the chat. Welcome to Arc 4, Episode 8, which is, you guessed it, the midpoint of Arc 4. Woo! Wait, what? Huh? Yes, 8. What? Arc 4, Episode 8. See, learn to count. Learn to count with your fingers. I'm Connie, the GM and executive producer behind Transplanar RPG. If you're tuning in right now, you know the deal. You know the spiel. You know who we are and what we're all about. We are an odd transgender people of color-led 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign, and I am the GM behind it. You can find me on Itch, Twitter, and Patreon at by Connie Chang, BYCONNIECHANG. Gonna pass along introductions to Lyra.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lyra. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her, and I encourage you to mix them up as you will. I am a linguist, translator, and musician, as well as the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's transgender diverse voices in all trans choir, based in the Twin Cities. Check out my hair, though. Oh my god, who is she? That's all about me. I'll pass it on to Erica.
I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I am utterly blinded by the beauty that is Lyra's hair, just like everybody else. You can find me at Erica Newgirl, pretty much anywhere I might actually exist digitally, but the most important space is here on Twitch at Erica Newgirl, where I play a variety of things, we goof around a lot, and I say things that I instantly regret, sometimes in a Mickey Mouse voice. So come hang out with us. I will pass it on to Max.
Hey, I'm Max. I'm Max, my pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Instagram at Starchmonger, where I post mostly selfies and cat pictures. Or you can find me on Etsy and Instagram at Stitchmonger, where I post the pride flag stuff that I make. I'll pass it to C.
Hey y'all, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer, and actor, and dramaturg. You can find me making very trans, very gay art, mostly for this on PieSharp Art across the internet. I occasionally stream on pie_sharp, though I haven't done it in at least a month. I am wearing my favorite sweater since I got top surgery. I'm feeling very good. We are in the gender euphoria in the house today, baby, and I will pass it over to Connie to get this session started.
You got it, boss. So, as always, some Patreon Paragon shout-outs. Paragons are patrons pledged to our highest tier on Patreon. That is so much money. Thank you so much for supporting our stream monthly. We are so flabbergasted with gratitude. These are Abigail Rytel, Azura, Brooke Bright, Cassidy Barnes, Charles, Chiacres, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, Marvelous, Mitzi, Moonflower Tea, Purple Mouse, Risa, and a brand new Paragon from yesterday, Rue. Welcome to the Transplanar train, Rue. Choo-choo, hop on aboard. I'm trying to make that a thing. Transplanar train, let's make it a thing. A special haiku for all of our Patreon Paragons. Count them and weep. Arc 4 midpoint time. Assassin stalks the palace. Dark closes in now. Yeah? 575, baby. Gotta pass it along to our terrified resident artist, C.
I am rather terrified, personally. Just a reminder, if you are also interested in revisiting some of our past episodes, you can find us on all of your podcasting sites, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. We have all of Arc 1 and the first few episodes of Arc 2. Those drop on the ass crack of dawn on Tuesdays, which is an actual time. You can look it up. Those are also an early release for patrons. So if you're interested in being a Paragon and getting those delightful little haikus, or having lots of other amazing prizes, such as character sheets, art assets, early access to episodes, as I said, you can use the ! Patreon command in chat to find that. And also, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Music. We'd like it so much if you did. Also, did y'all know that the finale episode of The Hounds of Mercy versus Andake is this coming Tuesday, November 9th. And guess who's going to be guest starring in said episode? It's me, motherfuckers. I'm going to be there. So tune in on 7 p.m. US daylight time now? I don't know. It's going to be fucked up. 7 p.m. We have daylight savings times tomorrow. It sucks. Not my fault. Anyway, watch The Hounds of Mercy. You're not going to regret it. This is literally going to be a crash point right now here today. So let's figure it out. And I'll pass it over to Erica to say thank you because I've just scrambled my mouth.
Your use of time has completely distorted my thinking now. I am here to thank people because I love to do it. These are folks who particularly have donated, given subs, they've subbed themselves, they have hosted, they've rated, all these types of ways that you can support the stream. These folks are Risa Malima, Crude Imposter Nightbright, Key Squared, Transdroid18, Erica Newgirl, and Moonflower T. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, we do have our wonderful incentive for donations, because we're divesting from Twitch like you do, because Twitch needs to get its shit together. And so with a $200 goal, which we're already we're getting there, right? I don't know. This is how the incentives work. At $25, $50, $75, and $100, that gives some random inspiration to each of the PCs. And at $125, there's a collective inspiration that anyone can use. And at $150, we get that most delightful auto crit, which anyone, including Connie, can threaten us to use. And at $200, we get everyone's favorite, the huge lore drop. So please, you can use Command Donate at any time if you want to give in that way. And now, my favorite part is where Max reminds Grandma Erica about what's happening in the campaign.
That's also my favorite part, where I get to give you all a terrible recollection of what happened last time. If you want to access the more eloquently written out version, you can always go to bit.ly/transrecap, the T and the R are capitalized, or by using the ! recap command in the chat. Here is my version. Outside Lotus's tavern, Oka and Rev bicker about whose love life is more fucked up. After an uncomfortable kiss between the two of them, they go back to the guest quarters and make a mess of the bathroom, giving Rev a fresh new haircut and a bath. Manaya meets her grandmother for the first time at the Silver Standard Academy and has to break the news of Nali's death to her. She also gives her the scoop on her other parents, Grandma Gao's children-in-law. Grandma Gao offers to help Manaya navigate the Royal Library in their search for information. Dewey meets back up with Kilohana and Tarnak. After blowing their minds with news of gods and paragons, he enlists their help in building a jar to hold a god shard. God shard? In the case that they fail to prevent the Emperor's assassination. Unfortunately, it requires a lot of knowledge and even more gold and resources. Speaking of gold, the prodigal Vinox Scherzo is catching up with her long-lost lover Lotus. She gets emotionally naked and bears Scott and Nexus to her at the cost of promising to always follow her heart, which she promptly does upstairs with Lotus. Afterwards, Lotus drops some information relevant to the assassination plot before asking V to erase that knowledge from her mind. Wink wonk. And I will pass it to Lyra for today's episode.
Pass it to me walking out the room. God damn the callouts. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Lyra. I use they, them, and wait. No, wrong one. To the title of this episode, of course. The title of this episodes, of course, always come from people of color, queer people, just marginalized people in general. We want to highlight people who are not commonly highlighted in media. And so today's episode is I Want a Large Life, which is from M. Robin Cook. Doesn't say where it's from. Connie, do you know?
That I Want a Large Life is the name of the poem. The title is Blood Poisoned and Lockjawed.
Oh.
Not ominous at all.
Not ominous at all. Yeah. Anyway, today's episode's title is Blood Poisoned and Lockjawed, which is from the poem I Want a Large Life, my mistake, which is from M. Robin Cook, and the full verse reads as follows. A chintzy thread count shrinking, avoiding stares of sharp rusty disgust, blood poisoned and lockjawed, silently speaking but loudly eating everything in sight.
Thank you for that, Lyra. And finally, let's move on to the session itself. As always, Transplanar RPG is set in a grimdark, gritty fantasy world that deals with subject matter that may be triggering to some viewers, so please use caution and protect your hearts and your own vulnerabilities when watching our stream. To help you do that, we have content warnings listed at the top and after every break of our stream. Content warnings for this episode and our campaign in general include family trauma, relationship trauma, memory loss, nightmares, death, fantasy violence, gore, alcohol, drug, and substance use, addiction, toxic and abusive relationships, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. For a full list of these content warnings at any time, use !CW in chat. No shame at all for triggering that command and looking at the content warnings, and use !safety in chat for a list of our casts, lines, and veils to know what boundaries we definitely won't cross no matter how dark our episodes get. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. The proud, spiraling eaves of the Dream Prophet's pagoda glimmer like gold under the hot sun of Galtanger. Pollen dapples the heat-stained windows of the tower, and the tall, knotted spire on the 8th roof shimmers in the heat. A hawthorn tree stands at the base of this tower, its branches bristling with red fruit, its bark glistening with syrup. A sweet breeze sweeps through the slumbering palace, the smell of summer rippling in its wake. A young half-drow loiters in the shade of this hawthorn tree, tossing a pebble between their hands. Their dark hair is schooled into a long, languid braid down their back. Their faces sharp, handsome, with fierce blue eyes that sport 2 pupils each. Prince Makoya Hien, second born to the Emperor of the Kingdom of Tulong, cocks their arm back with precise aim and tosses the pebble at the window of the 8th floor of the pagoda. The rock sings against the glass, then bounces off the roof and onto the ground. And not a moment later, the window flies open. I think birds take flight from the tree to reveal an annoyed-looking white tiefling with pink eyes. Halo, dream-touched, the prophet in training of the slumbering palace, glares down at the smirking prince, and she admonishes them with a few quick words, but the clever prince knows better. Halo and Makoya banter for a few breaths before the dream prophet rolls her eyes, sighs, hitches up her skirts, and starts making her way down the pagoda for a stolen day of summer fun. And now, 8 years later, the sun is gone. The sky is wan, darkened by clouds of burgeoning winter nipping at the heels of fall. The Dream Prophet's pagoda looks dull and gray in the translucent light. Leaves mottle its 8 roofs, obscuring the glazed ceramic under layers and layers of dying autumn. The final vestiges of fall linger on the hawthorn tree. We see golden leaves rustling in a chill breeze, roots smeared with the red husks of berries. Oka Hien. You stand at the tree's base, 8 years older with scars to show for it. The glowering stares of every royal maiden, every palace guard, every petty noble sears holes in the back of your tattered armor. You are the pariah of the palace, the black sheep of your blue-blooded family, the prodigal child returned to wreak havoc. But even as everyone glares at you, your gaze is fixed not on them, not even on the pagoda, but on an odd pairing in the middle of Halo's courtyard. A blue-skinned half-orc servant peels away from the wedding effort to Teo consort Liu Bai Shi, the halfling 8th wife of the Emperor, your mother-father. Odd. Wood creaks. A set of hidden doors to the side of the pagoda swings open, and Halo pokes her head out, her large connected horns swiveling from left to right, silver jewelry clinking. Seeing no danger, no eyes upon her, the Dream Prophet closes the door behind her and hustles over to where you stand by the hawthorn tree. 8 years older, Halo has grown into a fuller version of herself. Her face has matured, some of the baby fat worn away by years of delving into the guts of other people's nightmares. She holds herself with confidence and poise. She's adorned with jewels and bangles and silks. She punches you in the arm. Oka, what is it? you have your own investigations to carry out, and I have a wedding to prepare for.
Yeah, no, I know. Look. That's weird, right? Where are they going? Where do you think they're going?
Where's who going? What, the servants? That's an elephant, Oka. There are plenty of those in
No, behind the elephant, Halo. Why would I be talking about an elephant?
What, the giraffes? Or perhaps the rhinoceri?
No, the 8th wife. Liu Baisher. Where is she going?
Oh, I suppose that is Consort Liu. She's so small and wiggles around like a fish in a stream. Where is she going? Well, it looks like she's headed in the direction of her courtyard, Oka, where she lives.
Why was she in your courtyard? Come on, let's go. Let's follow her.
Do you grab her wrist and pull her along?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Yes. Oka just kind of grabs her on the wrist and is already kind of ducking through the gardens, and is just pulling her along.
Okay, make a general stealth check for me. See how well you disguise yourself?
18. Not bad.
That's pretty sufficient. As you pull Halo through her own courtyard, ducking around animals and, floats being constructed of, flower garlands wrought together in these beautiful adornments, stages being set up. It seems like tablecloths being brought out, etc. People are pretty busy preparing for Halo and Prince Mua's wedding. And your 18 is more than sufficient to pass muster. No one even spares you a side glance.
I have also definitely snuck through the gardens of this courtyard before when I was not supposed to be here.
Exactly. And that was before there was a wedding in preparation. So this is child's play for you. As you lead Halo between let's say there's maybe a montage where there are guards looking around and you stop behind a manicured topiary, that's perfectly shaped to hide the two of you. The guard passes and you pull Halo past, etc. Halo goes, Oka, what is this? Where are we going?
Come on, we're doing an investigation, remember? Besides, you're not actually doing any of the planning. And what are you going to do? Look at the elephants? Think about their dreams?
Well, she actually makes a kind of flustered, annoyed noise, which implies that maybe she was going to try to read the dreams of the animals here. She does not dignify your question with a response, though. As she stumbles along, Oka, this isn't proper. I'm the dream prophet now. I'm not just a prophet in training. I have appearances I have to keep up.
Oka wrenches both of them down, I think, into a bush as another set of dignitaries walk by. Yeah, that's why we're hiding, Halo.
Okay, fine. But what do you mean your investigations? You don't think the 8th wife could possibly be...
Are we supposed to cross everyone off our list just because we don't think they are supposed to be? She's clever, crafty. She's been talking to Manaya a lot, and I don't know why. We should go look.
Halo's face darkens at that, and a note of seriousness falls over her features, and she nods. Okay, fine. I'll play along, I suppose. But you've gotten stronger. As she pulls herself up out of the bush and plucks, I think, a ivy strand out of her beautiful long white hair.
What? Get back down! And Oka pulls her back down. Come on, we have to crawl. And Oka starts crawling forward through.
You're gonna make your ex-fiance, who's very much like a pillow princess, crawl on her hands and knees through the muck and the dirt?
Listen, we don't have to say what I'm thinking, but it's not like she... Anyway. Yes, is my short answer. Yes. And I think they sneak out of the courtyard. Oka's still trying to follow the two of them. Where are they headed once we're a little bit farther away?
They do seem to be headed toward the 8th wife's courtyard. Specifically, let's say there's a montage moment as you sneak, crawl on your hands and knees. Halo just goes, this is ridiculous. As she stands up to her full height and she snaps a finger, and you feel the weave tighten around the two of you as she casts Pass Without Trace and refuses to army crawl her way through the palace and grabs you by the nape of your the back of your armor and pulls you up as well.
Why don't you just do that before?
A proper dream prophet only uses her magic when provoked and when absolutely necessary, Oka.
Which is why I'm constantly provoking you.
She strides past you and stomps a little on your foot with like surprising force. Though she's so soft and delicate, I think she's kind of like Winry from Fullmetal Alchemist, where she could fully just chuck a wrench at your face and make you start like spurting blood. You follow Halo, and Halo follows you, and the two of you follow the eighth wife and this blue half-orc servant to the eighth wife's quarters, specifically to, it appears, like her inner courtyard, right? You have to scale several low walls, like dodge past her guards a little bit, like sidle into bushes, and then you creep up on like a wall of her, it appears like her bedroom quarters, with like this like latticed window that like allows you to sort of peer inside. There's like a set of like these, let's say, hydrangea bushes right underneath the window that the two of you like sidle into as you wait for the eighth wife and the orc to enter.
So I get the feeling that the eighth wife isn't, well, is she working on your setup, or is she just taking servants out of your quarters to bring to her bedroom?
She's not supposed to be... Wait a second. And Halo turns back onto you. That's why you brought me here, isn't it, you vagrant? This isn't about the investigation at all. This is about some sort of perverse, some sort of...
Halo, what are you talking about?
You voyeur!
What? Halo, we're not Halo, we're talking about an assassination.
Is this your way? Is this your way of telling me that what? I still, even though 8 years, there's feelings?
What?
I don't mean to be arrogant or to presume my own importance in the order of the universe, Oka, but I mean, bringing me here, throwing rocks at my window again like we used to, trying to take me on this little adventure, I'm not a fool, Oka. Why are you doing this, really?
Why do you think, Halo? You're my best friend. You're my best friend. Sometimes I feel like you're my only friend, still. And I don't care. I don't care if you want to have a tacky wedding. I don't care if you want to get married to Prince Moa. I don't care if we're not supposed to be together because of the river of fate or whatever the fuck. Halo, you're my best friend. I just care that you're happy. Are you happy up there reading the dreams of elephants and getting married to an asshole?
You're not supposed to call the firstborn an
asshole.
Well, what am I supposed to do, Oka? What am I supposed to do in this situation? You were gone, and there was no one else, and it's proper. It's the proper way of things for me to be wed to him.
So? Is this the proper thing to be doing right now, today? Sitting in this hydrangea bush? It doesn't matter. Do you love him?
There's like a long silence as Halo looks at you, like her lip quivering with an answer that she can't give. And in that moment, even though she doesn't say anything, right, her like face like drawn very tight around the edges of her expression, you get the feeling you know what the answer is.
Halo, you don't have to do this. You don't have to play whatever role that they set out for you. You're the Dream Prophet. You can do whatever you want.
Oka, No. You don't have to get so flustered, my dear. And you hear the eighth wife's voice sort of booming through the interior of the building you're leaned up against as she strides into the bedroom. And Halo like quickly grabs you, like pulls you back down, right? So you're not just like standing in the window of her bedroom. And the two of you sort of like slowly peek up and like over and through the wood lattice window. And the two of you see this halfling woman, the eighth wife, stride in, sort of sauntering side to side. I think she's got like a very like almost like waddling, confident, like duck-like walk almost. And following her is this blue-skinned half-orc servant in very humble rags. So they have like a surprisingly beautiful face and this like mop of like curly golden hair on top of their head, shaved on the sides. They sort of pause at the foot of the bed. And the eighth wife turns, right, like her back to the bed and like is like sort of taking the servant in. Oh my, you really are so scrumptious. Look at you. Where did you say you grew up? And the half-orc goes, outskirts of Dokao, ma'am. Farmhand. Ooh, farmhand. Ooh, I can tell. As she like squeezes their bicep, right? The half-orc just sort of stands there, Oka, with kind of an ineffable expression on their face. They don't look uncomfortable, necessarily, but they also aren't like actively egging her on. They're just sort of standing there and like looking at her, like a cat might look at a mouse. And the eighth wife stops in front of the half-orc, like having like squeezed her way around their muscles all the way back to the front again. Go ahead, Oka.
I think as this is going on, Oka turns to Halo and is like, I'm sorry, I kind of thought that maybe this was going to be like an assassination thing. I really didn't think that they were actually just coming in here to bone. I'm sorry. We can go.
Oka, you are so... And then the two of you are interrupted again by like the conversation starting up. You quiet yourselves and peek back over the lattice. So, I suppose you know why I called you in here? Ma'am, though flattered as I am by the proposition, I really must get back to my... Don't play dumb with me. I've been watching you for a while now, sweet little thing. And the eighth wife walks forward and, like, grabs the half-orc by the chin with a thumb and index finger and, like, forces it down to look at her because she's a halfling and shorter than them. Rumors abound that there is a spy in the walls of the palace, though for which spouse and for what reasons I don't know. And at that, the half-orc stops talking and their face becomes, like, inscrutable. Like, any expression of, like, I have to get back to my job, like, just drops, as they just have a completely blank expression. And the eighth wife goes on and says, rumors go on to say that such a spy is so good at their job because they're not a half-orc exactly, but a changeling. And, like, she, like, pauses on that final word and looks at the half-orc. And there's, like, a beat. And then the half-orc smiles. Ah, yes. Consort Liu, the rumor monger. I must say, I'm impressed, though it did take you longer to sniff me out than I thought it would. And the eighth wife sort of opens her mouth in surprise, and then the half-orc leans in and kisses her. Grabs both sides of her face and kisses her. She goes, like she's like surprised, but she's not necessarily resisting, you know, but she's like, what is happening? It's like a shock moment. And you sort of feel Halo stiffen next to you, and like her tail shoots up in like a straight line, and like the puff on the top of her tail, like...
Oka grabs her tail and pulls it back down.
Yeah, as he pulled down the tail, roll Arcana.
Yikes. 8.
You feel the weave tighten around you, emanating from the interior of this bedroom, but you don't know what kind of magic is being cast or who's casting it with your 8, but you know magic is happening as the half-orc kisses the eighth wife. And the eighth wife, you see her sort of go, and she sort of like goes limp in the half-orc's grasp, and then the half-orc like releases her. And she sort of like stumbles against like the foot of the bed and looks like super disoriented. What? Where am I? What was I? Tapioca pudding. And the half-orc goes, I'm so sorry for troubling you, Consort Leo. I have to get back to my duties. Pudding. And she falls back onto the bed and starts snoring. And the half-orc turns and looks toward the window. Make another stealth check with a +10 bonus from Halo's Pass Without Trace.
Scream! Wow, a 27.
Yeah, you are able to duck under, like, just as the half-orc looks, and maybe the two of you sort of, like, panting kind of shallowly, and then, like, both of you hear, like, footsteps recede out of the bedroom.
Okay, important question. Is her heart still beating? I could probably hear it based on my magic.
The eighth wife? Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
alive. She just seems to have been placed into, like, a slumber of sorts.
Okay. Oka peeks back over, and then they come back down. Did you see that? Fuck, wait, holy fuck. That's the spy.
It has to be. We should follow, but if they're a changeling, they could be anyone right now. There's no way for us to know who or why. Did you feel the weave? Okay, did you feel the weed bend and squeeze around Consort Liu?
What did they do?
Memory magic. They must have erased the consort's memory of them being the spy or a changeling.
Good. Then nobody knows that we know. Then nobody knows that we know. Then they don't know that they don't know that we know. Halo, they don't. That's good. I need to get back. I need to go tell everyone else. We need to go find them.
Yes, we do. And off of the two of you crouched in this bush, looking at each other with, like, urgency. Poof, we're gonna smash cut to two different people looking at each other with a very different kind of urgency. V Nox Scherzo, my beloved chaotic bisexual disaster. You are inside your own bedroom in the guest quarters of the Slumbering Palace. And sat on the end of the bed is your girlfriend, Rev. A massive, muscular drow woman with pale gray skin and hair that used to be long, dark like the ocean, but now completely short, shaved on the sides. She's crossing her big, taut arms over her chest and looking at you, I think. And I think, like, a period of silence has settled over the two of you for a little bit, as you assume Manaya and Dewey are, like, in the other room trying to mind their own business and give the two of you some privacy.
I think we need to have a talk.
Oh, a talk. You want to talk, V? I wanted to talk last night. And then a couple of hours after last night, and then into this morning. And now it's past 8 a.m., and you want to talk now. Okay, let's talk.
Well, we never had the conversation. What happens when you suddenly regain your memory and you're face to face with the love of your life who you were going to marry after the job that you lost your memory during? To be fair, we've never had that conversation.
To be fair?
Okay. Look, I screwed up. I know that I screwed up, and I'm not here to try to justify or even... I'm not going to lie. I will be as honest and forthright as you want. Do you want to hear? Let me rephrase. How much do you want to know about last night? I don't want to say anything you don't want to hear about.
I don't need to know anything about last night, V. I can assume, based on circumstance and the markings on your neck.
Be like, adjust her hair, like cover up her neck as much as possible.
V, I'm mad. Oka helped me realize that. I think it was pretty obvious even without Oka's intervention. I'm mad at you for, 1, not talking to me or coming after me. 2, kissing Lotus while I was out of the room, again, without talking with me or coming after me. And then, of course, I'm also mad at you for sleeping with Lotus without talking to me about what that could look like or what that necessarily means. But that's not even the main thing I'm hung up on, V. What I have to know is, what are we? More specifically, what am I to you?
To me, you have changed my life forever. I was so closed off to the possibility of ever loving anybody ever again. After what Seaver did to me, when we kissed outside your room, that was a really big deal because I was kissing you without any goal of trying to get something. I have not done that in a very, very long time. And I love you dearly. I also am in this strange position I never expected. That suddenly I remember this person that I love just as much, but it doesn't negate my love for you or how important you are for me. Look, we are going on an adventure to try to fix and make whole all of Andake. That's not something you get to do every day with a partner. You know, and I feel like a little bit like maybe the situation with Lotus is, you know, we're going to be busy. We're not going to be here much longer, maybe a few more weeks, and then we're off to the next place and the next place and the next place. So I almost like, in a way, it's like we don't really have to even worry about this till after we've fixed everything. And then, you know, we can figure out what things look like.
After is going to look very different, V. Even I don't know what the after would look like. But what matters to me is right now. The time that you and I have left right now in this state of the world and how things currently are, this fucked up post-apocalyptic cataclysm. V, here's how I feel. I had a night to sleep on it. Oka helped me process. I want to be the priority, V. I want to be the priority in your life, in your romantic, intimate relationships. I can't be second. I can't just be another partner or another girlfriend. I have to be the one you come home to. And if that isn't what you want, if that's not what works for you right now, I need to know.
So, when you say comes home to you every night, do you mean every night?
We can work out the specifics. I mean this more in terms of where you hold me in your heart, V.
Of course. Sorry. I make joke. I'm sorry. This is a difficult conversation for me too. I'm not. You know me. I'm. This isn't easy for me. I tried for a very long time not to be attached, and this is why. But no matter how much, you know, no matter how hard I try not to be attached, I'm attached to you, and I love you. And there was never a moment in this last day that I didn't feel like I wanted to give you up for this. That thought never crossed my mind. I love you. And I do want you in my life, and I want you to definitely be the person that we get through all of this with, you know? This world is so terrible to people sometimes that we've got to hold on to each other. I couldn't imagine this world now without you in it.
I can't really either, and I don't want to, V, but the point stands that whoever I'm with, I need to be their person, 100%, their priority, their primary partner. I can't just be... And like Rev sort of like sweeps her hand out in like a horizontal fashion. I can't be the same on the same level as Lotus. I can't even be just different. I have to be closer. You understand? It was the same way with Leaf. She had other partners, she had other girlfriends and boyfriends, but she always came home to me.
I'm gonna have to think about this then. I mean, and V actually like starts to cry, just like a little bit, not too much, just like, but you can see just like her eyes are starting to water. Like, I didn't ask for any of this, ever, none of it. I am just trying to survive. I've been trying to survive for a very long time.
I didn't ask for any of this either, V. I didn't ask for the myriad to kill Leaf. I didn't ask to die. I didn't ask to be brought back as a literal revenant. But we make do. We look at the fates that the gods have given us, and we make do. Okay, you need time. You need space. I hear you. I understand that. I can respect that. I just ask that while you figure out what you need, you don't go around sleeping with and falling back in love with Lotus again. Do you think you can do that?
That feels like a little bit of a low blow. But, yeah. I can do that. And
Okay. Great. Good talk.
also, I love what you've done with your hair.
And Rev gets up and like exits the room, I think. And I think you feel like Scott and Nectus like sort of like coil like serpents in your soul a little bit, like squeezing around your heart just a bit, as Rev exits.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's when Rev walks out into the room with Manaya and Dewey, and that's also when Oka, I think, barrels through the courtyard and starts running in. Go ahead, C.
So you know that meme of Candace from the Boys Who Do Summer with the Platypus? I forget what the show's called. But you know the
Phineas
meme
and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb, thank you.
Phineas and Ferb, see.
Okay.
Reference still doesn't hit me, so.
Where it's like, Mom, holy fuck! Okay, kicks the door open, and they're like, fuck! I know who the fucking spy is! And Halo is also there, and Oka has like dragged Halo through the door also.
Hello,
like
Paragons.
Maybe there's a small delay between Rev walking into the other room and Oka bursting in. It's like Rev's walked to the other room, and then maybe like Manaya and Dewey are like almost like trying to look but not trying to be seen. And then as soon as Rev walks, they go, hi, Oka!
The spy! I know who the spy is! We saw them! They took the memories from the 8th wife. They were gonna sleep together, but then they weren't, but because the 8th wife figured it out. It's,
Okay.
they're a changeling!
Keep your voice down, we don't know who's listening.
Oh, right. Fuck. Sorry. I shouldn't have been screaming this whole way. Okay. Sorry.
Wait, you've been
This
screaming
whole way?
the whole way?
No, just generally. Just, hi V. Oh God, we really ran here really hard. Sorry, I'm kind of out of breath from screaming and running. We know who the spy is.
Who?
They were.
Let's sit down. We need to sit down. And I think Manaya's like walking over to the table that's maybe in this room. There's like a combination kitchen or something, and pulls out a chair and is like, let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Hopefully not in a way that someone sitting outside our window or door can hear.
Do you have any magical bombs for that, Dewey?
Just tell us.
I have something
quietly.
for it. And Rev holds out her hand and Grim ripples into existence and maybe like almost bonks Dewey in the head as it shimmers into reality. Yeah, like maybe like jerk backward, and she sort of like twirls it like a wand in one hand and sweeps it around the interior, and like a globe of silence like black feathers ripple out and like dome you all off. And when you talk, your voices sound muffled, like you're in like a recording studio or like a place with like extremely padded like acoustic walls. And you just know that like anyone from the outside will not be able to hear what you're saying inside this dome.
Whoa, Dewey.
Who?
They're a changeling. They have taken the form of a blue half-orc. I saw them at Sambaya's sword demonstration the other night too. They're there. And
Also,
they're here.
The blue
Wait.
one, talking with the 8th consort, Liu Baishu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
last night, Lotus told me that a noble came into bar with a blue half-orc.
What was the... Wait, what? Yeah, then that must have been the noble they were associating with. Who was it?
Lotus couldn't tell, and V is also like still like fucking like getting tears out of her eyes. They couldn't really tell. They think that the noble was like casting magic to disguise themselves, but they described them as like lots of fur, but their face, like you couldn't really make out their face probably due to the magic.
Is there anyone in the palace that specifically wears lots of fur?
No, it seems like maybe based on this description, you know how nobles are in the palace, especially nobles who like don't really know what it's like to be poor. Like they will like they're not really good with like handling the cold in winter, so they probably like just swaddle themselves up in fur to like overcompensate. Whereas like people in Dokao and the outskirts like can sort of like weather the cold and know how to dress in a less ostentatious manner for autumn and winter.
Understood. Oka takes a moment and their eyes kind of like focus somewhere else and then focus back. The 8th wife had figured it out, that this person was a spy. She knows about the plot, but she was calling them on their bluff. I think she just wanted she wanted to know the rumor. She wanted to know the secret. She's fine, though. She's not dead. I'm talking about her like she's dead. She's fine. But I do believe that the spy stole her memory.
Well, so we know someone that we're looking for, but they may not look like the person we're looking for, and we don't know who they really are behind the person that we're looking for.
Yes.
Just checking, make sure I got my facts right.
Well,
It's
I'm-
not all hopeless, though. I used to travel with a changeling, with the hounds, and they could change into anything or anyone, but the stars always stayed. Little star marks on their skin. It's possible that the spy has something similar, something that stays.
well,
V. Rev turns to you in I think like a very professional kind of cold way. Did Lotus share anything else about this noble aside from what they looked like in terms of fur? Anything else about them that was weird or stood out?
I just that they again seemed to be in touch with magic. They were able to sort of disguise them. Like, do any of the spouses have the ability to sort of disguise themselves or put?
V, we are in a palace full of extremely powerful magicians. Everyone here has the ability to change themselves. Or at least they know somebody who can call in a favor, a servant who still has magic.
Anything else? An idiosyncrasy, a quirk, a weird drink order. Erica, did you forget the weird drink order?
I didn't put down the drink order. No, I put
Okay.
down
I
a lot of the descriptors.
remember it.
So
Okay.
V would know, and she would say it, but I
Okay,
can't.
so-
I don't remember it.
Okay, out of
I
character.
didn't write that down.
Out of character, the other clue I gave you is that this person, this noble, ordered a virgin martini, but not like an alcohol substitute. They just wanted an olive in a chilled glass.
Right.
It is pretty much the most villainous thing that I could possibly think of. I wrote
Just an
down olive
the
in big
glass.
letters.
Do you want to say that in character, V?
Yeah. Well, they did order a unique drink. It was simply an olive in a glass, as if that made a virgin martini.
That's not a drink.
That is fucked up.
Everybody has their own personal taste. Who knows? Maybe it's very delicious.
No, I'm with Dewey on this one. That's not a drink.
Well, it should cut down the possibilities then if we look for people and what kind of drinks they enjoy.
We might not
Connie,
need
is there
to.
anyone in my... I'm sorry, Lyra, go ahead.
We might not need to. V, you're. If you're anything, you're evidence that any memories taken can always be returned. If we can talk to Miss Liu Bai Shun, I don't know, some magic or something to get her memories back, she knows more than any of us could ever find out.
I'm not so sure about that. She just knows what we know, that this person was the spy. She watches everything. Manaya, she probably saw some small quirk. We can try and ask, but memory magic is dangerous and fickle.
I
We might
mean,
end up hurting her more than anything.
what did it take for? I almost hate to ask. What did it take to restore your memories?
I mean, I was just standing there. Suddenly, this stranger was confronting me, yelling at me, knowing my name. And then it just started to flood in there. And then V looks over at Rev and it just came back the more we started talking and getting to become reacquainted.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you should try kissing.
Doubt any one of us kissing the 8th wife of the Emperor is something even feasible, nor anything any of us would want to do.
Also, if you did, I would stab you.
Oh, and I'd be next in line.
Wow, this is aggressive. It's just a suggestion. Oh my goodness. I do like a challenge.
V, if you so much as go near my technical step parent, I will stab you harder than I did yesterday.
It's so hard to be a V.
Jokes aside,
Uh-huh.
let's get back on track. We have, it seems, two possible leads. We either jumpstart the memory of Miss Liu Bai Shi, or we pursue this blue half-orc, assuming they assume the same visage. Visage?
Well, that is the right word.
Right.
I think the thing is that they probably haven't changed their visage. They took the memory from the 8th wife so they could keep their disguise. They don't know that anyone in the palace knows. They probably still think they're safe.
I think both of those leads are good leads, but we still have so many others also to at least consider. I mean, we've got, personally, I am interested in the second wife, mostly someone who deals with gambling and gamblers playing games. They're probably a little dicey. They probably know information that nobody knows that they know because they like to underplay their hands. I might go check in with them.
I could try to get you into her mahjong parlor.
I do love me some mahjong.
He brings up a
Okay.
good point. We can't just get pigeonholed with this one lead.
Pigeonholed.
Dewey shoots via look.
You walked right into that one, Dewey.
Yeah.
Flew into it, I guess.
All
They
right.
don't fly.
Like a bird hitting a window, one might say.
Right. I thought we talked
There are
about
a number of spouses we haven't talked to as a group yet. We should at the very least, canvas all of them first, and then we can follow whatever most promising leads there are. V goes and talks to the second wife.
I've been meaning to talk with the first wife since we arrived. I think I have an idea about how to get to her. So I don't think she'll want to see me in broad daylight, nor any of us, to be totally honest. But it'll take some time.
Okay. Yeah, I trust you with that. Be safe. Sounds a little bit sketchy, but there's also some research to be done in the library, I think. There's probably some literature on the stuff that we haven't quite found yet.
About everything, really. The library has everything.
Everything.
We could figure out more things about... fuck, I could finally fucking read that book. Shu Haimiao's diary that we found in a ball. We can look for clues in the library, keep our eyes open for the spy. I'll get you into the mahjong parlor.
I like this idea.
Well, both times I talked to a consort, I probably revealed more than I learned, so I'm probably more comfortable around books that I don't have to reveal the whole plot to. I'll go with you, Dewey.
That's good. You can reach the ones on the tallest shelf.
There you go.
Since Dewey won't fly up there.
It's true. Why are you so afraid of flying, Dewey?
I'm not afraid of flying.
If
It's
you are,
just-
you could just tell me. I'll teach you if you want.
I know how to fly.
We love
It's
you
just-
either way.
Oh, is this like a flightless bird situation, like a penguin? Or
Dewey
like a
walks
keyword bird?
walks out of the bubble and goes to the wall and starts drawing like a missing person sketch of this blue half orc, ignoring everyone else. It's like, so what did you say their facial features looked like?
And maybe on that, Halo steps forward. This entire time, she has somehow produced tea and has brewed it and is like pouring little cups while y'all were talking, turns to you, Dewey, and starts answering you. Well, first it was really their skin, glimmering like sapphire. And off like Halo describing this blue half-orc to you, and the rest of you turning, right, as Rev sort of twirls this scythe and like this dome of silence like unravels back into the ether. We're gonna take a quick break. We are gonna be back in 10 minutes. It is about 10 past or so, maybe 7 past the hour, with part 2 of our midpoint, while our PCs investigate the palace. Be back in 10. Love you so much. Sheesh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our arc for midpoint of Transplanar RPG. This is going to be the second third of 3/3 of our midpoint. That's right, a midpoint special where we have an extra long episode to serve you all. As a reminder of content warnings for this episode and our campaign in general include family trauma, relationship trauma, memory loss, nightmares, death, fantasy violence, gore, alcohol, drug, and substance use, addiction, toxic and abusive relationships, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. Use !CW in chat at any time for a full list of these content warnings, as well as !safety for a list of our cast's lines and veils so you know what topics we definitely won't cross the ether into. We also have just received a donation bringing us to our goal of $200 out of $200 for today. Rest assured, there will be ginormous lore drops, so stay tuned for those. With that out of the way, let's hop right back into the session. V. We find you, perhaps dressed in these like nigh-tailored robes that maybe you've cobbled together from the guest quarters. Maybe some jewelry you've also found in various wardrobes, perhaps that you've pilfered through your long career of thievery. We find you, Vinox Scherzo, in the courtyard of Queen Guo, second wife to the Emperor of Tulong. Every night is gambling night, at Queen Moore's courtyard. You see swimming all around you, yet nobles in their finery, draped in robes of darkened silk, wearing big headdresses interwoven with their hair styled up in elaborate updos. You see floating globes of water levitating above still ponds with koi fish swimming in these iridescent circles within liquid. You also see fairy lights floating around this garden, which is even more ostentatious and beautiful than the garden and courtyard of the fourth wife, Arden Hien, and your friend Oka's mother. You stand, I think, at the gate, the archway, where a bookie of sorts, let's say a slender dwarven woman with this like big beard sort of like tasseled into braids down her front, is collecting an entrance fee and handing those who wish to gamble in Queen Gula's courtyard a special card to wear on your breast to indicate your number. What do you do?
V is going to be very sheepish. I imagine she has like a little purse that she's like kind of clutching in front of her, like wide-eyed doe has never seen a gambling hall. And wow, this is so. Excuse me. I have. Do I pay you something?
Listen, kid, word of advice for someone who's been around the block a few times, says this dwarven bookie. You don't want to have so many tells like that. They're gonna chew you up and spit you right out. Must be rich off of daddy's money. Alright, entrance fee is, and the dwarf looks you up and down. 55 gold.
55 gold? Oh, that seems atrociously too much. I wouldn't dare. I know this is the Emperor's palace and all, but 20 gold seems more than sufficient for such a...
20 gold? No. You're new here. Wet around the ears, I can tell. 55 gold.
Well, oh dear, I guess you... And she's like bumbling through her coin purse and she... And actually hands 60. Is this 55 gold pieces? Could you count this for me?
Yep, that's 55, thank you. And the dwarven woman's gonna reach forward to cup it.
Perfect. Here you go. And V just goes ahead and just like gives it away. 60 gold.
Okay, so mark that off on your character sheet. She takes this gold, like chuckling at how naive, right, you're appearing, and hands you a number. So what is your number, V? Don't do it. Don't stop.
We'll go 315.
315. Number 315 that you proudly pin to your breast. And the dwarven woman like bows low, her beard scraping the manicured floor and ground, and as she welcomes you into the courtyard. And V, you see the first ring of the gambling, I think, takes place completely outside. And you have to gamble your way deeper into the courtyard. You have to collect a certain amount of gold to buy in. A certain amount of tokens to buy into, like, to the next rung. You can't just bribe your way up. You have to prove it through gambling and using their currency. And there's a little booth where you can, like, swap in gold for tokens, right? But there's, like, a limit to how much you can buy, like, straight off the bat without, like, swapping more tokens for other tokens, etc. So the first rung uses bronze tokens, right? And if you collect enough bronze tokens, you can swap them in for enough silver tokens for a buy-in for the next rung of the gambling. So looking around, you see various mahjong tables. It's exclusively mahjong set up all around this garden. You see tons of people smoking, and like leaning over tables and sort of like spectating on like people like gambling against each other. And people are like placing bets on who's gonna win, right? And like the people who are also like competing against each other are obviously like fighting for the pot of money in the center. So V, tell me, how are you gonna tackle this first night?
I would like to maybe roll some perception. What I'm looking for is a table with a player who seems to be like overly confident. Someone that this whole ruse of not knowing who I am, that they might fall for it a little bit and let their guard down and slip up a little bit.
Make a perception check. for a mark, an easy score.
I'm gonna use a lucky point.
Okay.
So wow, you gotta do. I do have a point of inspiration,
You
don't
do. You do.
I gotta use it. Wow, this is just bad. Okay, can I just describe to you? My first roll was a 3, my second roll was a 4, and my third roll was a 5.
No! You know what? You know what? Because it's gambling night, that's a straight. That's a straight. 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna treat that as a successful perception check. You know what? Because it's gambling night. It's gambling night. I can't resist a good gamble. If you'll let me tell you, maybe herd you a little bit toward a certain direction. How's
Sure,
that?
go for it.
Okay, I'll give you a good mark though. You cast your naive, doe-like, long-lashed gaze around this courtyard to find a table with a ton of people crowded around it. Perhaps the most people, like, out here in the garden. And Mahjong, there's 4 players at each table. You see 3 players that don't necessarily strike your eye, but one of them stands out. A young person, maybe only 20 years old, but draped in these, like, silk robes made of pure golden thread, right? And it's got, like, the emblem of, like, a dragon coiling, I think, around a serpent, like all the way up, like a dragon on one arm and like a serpent on the other. And I think at this point you would have recognized Oka's various family member crests. This is the crest of the Guo family. This must be one of Queen Guo's children. And they are like sniffling. They've got like a handkerchief out and they're like constantly daubing at their nose and blowing on it and sniffling and like tucking the handkerchief away. And they've got this like short cropped kind of like this short cropped. Yeah, you see Lyra just sitting there. No, except you see like a short cropped like mess of black hair. And where it's shaved on the sides, you see tattoos sort of creeping up their neck and going into their scalp. And though they're young,
okay, I'm gonna go all in for this hand. Oh, that's Mahjong. I guess I win. Yay!
and they're like scooping like the pot of money in, and like the 3 people around them get up and like slam their gloves on the ground, and they like storm off, you know? And like the crowd grows as like people grumble and like, exchange money, the onlookers. And this young person, you're not sure, like, something about them seems like you're like, I feel like I can swindle them because they're used to people like expecting them to win, and they're used to people always like coddling them and like looking up to them. You know what I mean? So as they like scoop this huge pile of bronze tokens in, you find your feet moving toward them. What do you do?
Oh wow, this game looks so easy. You just win. That's how you do. And oh my gosh, your tattoos, they're so.
Oh,
Do that.
thanks. Mom gave them to me when I was a baby, I guess. But then my head started growing faster for my body, so they had to get a magician to blast the tattoos off my skin and redo them, which apparently cost a lot of money. But that's okay, because Mom's rich.
And they like scoop all the tokens into like a barrel that they have like by them. And you notice like they have more than enough tokens to advance into the next like tier, maybe even the one after that, but they're still here, which is interesting.
You've got so many. Can you show me how? I've never played this before. Can you show? And V like it's taking out the. I mean, was she given some bronze tokens to?
Yeah, let's say your
start- 55,
your 60 gold buy-in netted you 55 bronze tokens.
Perfect. I've got these tokens. Do I just put them on the table? What do I do?
Yeah, you'll wager a certain amount at the beginning of each round. And, oh wow, 55 tokens? You must have won a few rounds already. The buy-in rate isn't that high. Well, yeah, sit down. Yeah, why not? I won't go easy on you, though. I'm pretty good.
So V sits down and just like, so I bet all of it? Is that what I do? She puts like it all into the pot.
There's like
Is this-
murmuring from the crowd. You see a couple of people like smirking and snickering at you as they start to place bets, you know? And like you see like a big like half-elf man sort of go, yeah, I'll sit in for this round too. Looks at you like you're an easy score, right? And like another like person sits down across from the half-elf. And the Prin, you assume, and I think the name comes to you now, Prin Guobu, 9th born. This, as you sit across from them, you notice how big they are. They're half Goliath, right? So they're actually huge, even though they like like carry themselves in kind of like a adolescent manner or like a juvenile manner.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go easy on you just because you're new, though.
I wouldn't expect you to do anything but play your very best. I mean, I'm just a new beginner, so everything you do is a new lesson. But you're gonna have to tell me the rules because I've never played before.
Okay, well, you're gonna try to get matching tiles, all right? Let's get started.
And Pringor like snaps their fingers, and like you see like these desks must have been imported from Muhanahi or something, because you see them like a depression form in the center as like the tiles are like mixed in, and then like fresh sets of 4 tiles come up. You know what I mean? Like classic like Vietnamese auntie like showing off her brand new mahjong table situation. Like 4 sets of tiles come up, and you begin to play V. So I need you to just tell me how you're playing for this night. Are you gonna try to like sleight of hand cheat, or are you gonna try to like bluff your way through, or a combination of both?
What I'm going to do, how well can I see the Prin's hands?
Pretty well. Well, kind of hard, because like mahjong tiles are like set up in such a way that unless you're next to them, it can be hard to see. If you're sitting, I'll let you decide where you're sitting though. You can be sitting next to them or across.
Next to. That way I'm constantly leaning over like, is this, and like I even show a couple of tiles like, is this what they play here?
Oh, you're not supposed to show me your tiles. Now I know what your hand is, stupid.
Oh, I'm sorry. And but when she does this though, she's going to cast minor illusion on the tile to make it look like a different tile.
Okay. Roll deception, my friend, for this entire night.
Can I reroll because it like flew out of the train like?
Okay. Okay, fine, Erica.
Right.
I'll let you.
I'm not going. I just.
roll.
Okay. You said deception, so that's an unnatural 20.
Okay, DC for the night was 18. So that is a success. So what that means, oh my god, so why don't you tell me what that means, V, as you sort of like do your first game ever?
So again, V acting this way is constantly showing the Prin the tiles, but they're obviously the wrong tiles. And so and she's going on, well, look, I've got sorry, too many. I've got 2 more of these, so that's 3. So I should keep this one, right? And then like V is like scrambling around, and maybe a few times doing a little bit of sleight of hand in the pile with the tile that she had, so that the Prin doesn't really know which one's going on. And then, through all of that deception, she cleans up. I would say she cleans up pretty nicely, very quickly.
Yep, toward the end game of the first round, like the onlookers, I think are like muttering amongst themselves and like watching, etc. And the Prince going,
Okay, yeah, you wanna discard that one because you don't seem to have any other matching pairs for that one. Oh, you shouldn't take that one though. No reason, just don't. Like the Prin is like trying to see you as like an easy mark, and you're the first one to get a matching set. So like the correct thing is to like declare mahjong and flip your tiles down.
Yeah, so V's gonna like flick. Is this a mahjong?
What the?
And like the entire crowd like gasps, and people are like, "What?" Like murmuring amongst themselves. Like the half elf goes, "What in the God's damn?" And like slams like his fist down like on the table and like rattles the other tiles. And the Prin goes, "How did you? But when did you? But I told you to discard that tile."
I thought I did, didn't I? But I picked up another one later on. Don't you remember? Were you not paying attention? I was showing you all of my hands just because I didn't know what I was doing. If I won, it was your good work. You taught me so well.
The winner is number 315, says like a nearby bookie, like who's like keeping like neutral judgment over these tables, and they sweep like the tokens toward you. So you're now like 100 tokens richer as like you win your bet back and also the bets of everyone else. And Prin Gorge just goes, "Again, I want a rematch."
How much do I need to go to the next level?
150.
All right, so I do need to play at least one more.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, if you maybe beginner's luck, perhaps. Let's. And V's like, figuring out the amount she needs to win still. Like, is this seems like a good amount to bet, and puts it in.
Yeah, just put
to
it
the pot.
down. Put it down. I'm gonna kick
Okay.
your butt.
Okay.
And Prin go like 2 new people sit down, and the 2 of you gamble again. And taking your roll for how you do for the rest of this night, you clean up. You win 150 bronze tokens, maybe even more. You kick Prin Gua's butt in front of everyone. And like by like the 4th or 5th match of the night, but you win every single one. Prin Gua like slams their like big like hands down on the mahjong table and cracks it. And they get up and they go, "I've had enough." And they like get up and they turn and they storm out, and like they're followed by like a retinue of like courtesans and like nobles, etc. But you're sitting there with huge fat sacks of like bronze tokens that can carry you to the next level, V. And
Well-
at this point, everyone's looking at you like, wow, like this person is clearly not just a newcomer.
Beginner's luck, everybody. And V like puts it in, and all of a sudden like completely drops that, and then like clearly is like, yeah, now it's confidence time. She's doing a new
Yeah.
angle for the next, as she prepares for the next round of stuff.
Yeah, you drop the tokens in front of like, let's say like a bookie, like toward the inner courtyard, and like your face changes as you drop this look of like naive, like doe-like eyes to this mask of like pure confidence, and you're given like a smaller sack of silver tokens as you stride past the archway. And on like V striding past the archway into another night of gambling, we're gonna pan over, I think, to Dewey and Manaya doing library research in the Royal Archives. So Dewey and Manaya, we find the 2 of you, I think, in like some stacks. It's kind of dusty in here. Some like sunless light filters in through like nearby lattice window openings, apertures, and sort of like ignites these like floating motes of dust in the air. As Dewey is maybe like looking through like certain books, right? And Manaya, you're maybe also like loitering nearby. You're like helping Dewey reach the higher shelves without Dewey having to flap his wings up or grab a ladder. And all around you is very quiet. Obviously it's the library, so you're not supposed to like talk. But this particular corner of the library is very dark, very secluded, and very quiet. What are the 2 of you up to?
I think that Dewey, in trying to keep up this facade or like keep this God jar plan a secret, he's kind of grabbing like way more books than he needs.
You're like
he's,
hiding the books you need in like other books that aren't as suspicious.
Yeah, just drown him out with like a sheer number of books. And I think he hands them to Manaya because like, is he
Yeah,
going to carry
let
like
me-
50 pounds of books? Thank you. I am not used to so many books.
When I was about to reach into like a back pocket to take out the set of teeny tiny glasses to try to read the books, but before she could grab them, these books were hoisted then upon her, and she's like, "Oh, what are all of these?"
I think it's just a lot of history books, and also like books on martial combat, stuff like that.
Zulong does have a long and storied history, hey?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna get through all of these in just a couple of weeks.
Oh, I can help you.
You
I've been
speak.
brushing up on my too.
Oh, have you now? And he quickly like starts putting more books on the pile.
Here, let me. And Manaya shifts the stack of books that she's holding in both hands to just one hand, leans up against her, and starts another pile in the other hand. Yeah, well, since we've been around and, I've been around the city and all, I found it myself a tutor.
Oh, out in Dokal or in the palace?
Oh, yes, she helped me to at least be able to get the basics of reading down.
Oh, were you she taking you on pro bono, or are you did you sign up for
Taking
school?
me on what?
Do you have connections? Or did you sign up for like classes?
Oh, no, nothing like that. Actually, And Manaya finds a nearby table, Manaya finds a nearby table and unceremoniously drops them on the table, maybe a little bit too loud, not having a whole lot of experience in libraries. And her voice picks up a little bit. And she says, she gave me these really cool glasses that she said would be able to help me read. Take a look at them. I think they're really neat.
Oh, hey. And Dewey like grabs them out of Manaya's hands and like starts flipping through the different colored lenses. It's like, oh wow, who made these for you? Or who-
Well, I don't have many connections, but the tutor, she actually just gave them to me. I want to see her again, of course, but it was confiscated from one of her students.
Oh.
I feel like V with this kind of contraband. Kind of thrilling.
Yeah, I don't think they take. I don't think this is a thing that the Royal Examinations would appreciate. But for research,
Excuse
Useful.
me, young man. Hello.
And the oldest fucking turtle you've ever seen in your life. Like a soft-shelled turtle librarian, sort of like hobbles up, maybe about your size, Dewey, and is holding a leather-bound book in her fins. And like it seems like really ragged. I found the volume you were trying to look for earlier when he passed by at the front desk. Here it is. And like she hands it to you. And the front in Tew says, "To break a soul." Now, this is a very special kind of book, so I'm going to need you to return this in mint condition. You understand?
will do. Yeah, I'll take very good care of this. Dewey's still holding the glasses, right? Manaya's not wearing them.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you've taken them.
He waits until like the librarian turns their back, and he kind of like piles it in between. Sandwiches in between like a couple of other books.
And I think Manaya's like, oh, like she's like reaching for the glasses. Oh, what is that one? Can I try to read it?
It's about it's a technical manual. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Were you looking for any books? I've taken up so much of. I don't know how many books we're allowed to take out.
Manaya looks up at the stack on the table. Well, I wanted to try to find something, but I might have to wait till tomorrow. With all of these books that we're going to be taking out.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a good time to call for an investigation check from you, Dewey, for the course of the week to see how quickly and efficiently you're able to find the books you need for Tarnak and Kilohana. And Manaya, are you trying to suss Dewey out, or is that thought not even crossing her mind?
No, Manaya is the most innocent little girl that you've ever seen in your life.
Okay, what kind of books is Manaya trying to look for?
Before that, Dewey allowing, Manaya would like to, as soon as she can get her glasses back, at least try to help Dewey trying to find the sections that he's looking for. Maybe not the specific books, though. So maybe if I could roll to...
Why don't you
give Dewey a bonus?
assist Dewey then? Yeah, so
Yeah,
Dewey,
yeah,
you can roll
yeah.
that with advantage. How about that?
There it
Okay.
is.
I'm also going to use my Flash of Genius, which is
Oh!
a new Artificer thing.
Ooh.
So I think this is where he's most in his element. So he gets a 26.
Holy bananas, Dewey. Okay. I think what that means over the course of the week is we see like a montage, right? Outside of the library window. We see like the light go dim and the starless dark take over. And then the light like fade up again, you know, and like dusty motes are illuminated. And then the lights go dim and then the lights fade up and the lights go dim. And we see like a quick time lapse, you know, montage as Dewey and like Manaya like move all over the place. We see like maybe like Manaya sleeps in the library one night and like Dewey's like caffeinating like looking through books, etc. We see like Dewey like slipping like to break a soul like into like a secret compartment or something of like Dewey's pouch as Manaya's like studying maybe like Tew for beginners or something, like has this like big thick scroll out and is like trying to read the characters, right?
Manaya is
So-
looking for books for herself, but yeah, go ahead.
I like that. Yeah. So during this montage, why don't both Dewey and Manaya, the two of you, tell me what you're up to over the course of the week? Not just a day, but the entire week. You want to go first, Dewey?
Sure. Let's see. I think that Dewey, there's like a record of who checks out what books, right? So-
Yes.
So,
You
I
put
them
them under
that
my name. I swear to Mahu.
no. Well, actually, yeah, I have to take these out.
So what do you? I mean, you got a 26. So whatever you do doesn't immediately raise suspicion, is what I'll tell you.
Yeah, I think I'll check a couple out under Manaya's name and a couple
Swear to
under
God.
mine. Just so like it's
Okay.
not all just one
Dewey.
person.
Okay.
But I thought, Dewey, your name only should have 2 characters. That's one extra, isn't it?
This is
Oh,
Wait,
no, is that Kadu? Oh, I'm sorry. You should use your official name, wouldn't
yes.
you?
Yes, you're so good at 2. Oh, so much better than I am.
Oh, well, I've been practicing.
Yeah, I just can't seem to pick up languages the way you can.
So will that be
Do-
all for today?
It's the same turtle. It's the same turtle lady.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you so much for all of this. You've been
You're very
wonderful.
welcome. I notice you've been interested in borrowing books about too. This is a fantastic guide for beginners. It helps you with tonal inflections. I'll just add that on to the list.
I blushes a little. Thank you. Really.
Ah, you're very welcome. No skin off my back at all. Well, that'd be quite impossible. I am a soft-shelled turtle after all.
And like starts like putting the books in like a little like paper bag for the two of you.
Actually, I think Dewey's like, are you sure it's okay? Would it be okay if we borrowed this library cart? I don't want to break any.
Oh, the cart!
We have-
Of course! Mon! And you see like a tiny little turtle, but so wide, like pushing a cart out, and draws to like a stop next to you, and like very buff starts like piling all the books onto this cart.
Thank you, Mon. You need any rough handling, Mon's your guy.
This is everything I ever wanted out of this campaign. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We need some brevity before we get into Okasine, so here it is.
Speaking of Okasine, I think there's one day that Oka accompanies Dewey and Manaya, which is probably terrifying for Dewey because.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Yeah.
But Oka is very busy teaching Manaya how to curse loudly
my
in
God.
Sioux and like write curse words on the desks.
And I think just for the sake of comedy, maybe that falls on a day where it's like Manaya's turn to try to find some books.
Look. Look, if you look just underneath that shelf to the left, I scratched my initials in there when I was like 14.
Manaya ducks under to see that shelf. Oh, right, under here.
It's like an erotica shelf. It's like nothing
Oh my
but dirty
God.
mags.
They really have everything in here. It's amazing. Okay, what were you looking for, though? I can stop taking you on a tour.
Yeah, now
Oh,
maybe this is a good time to go to Manaya and see like what Manaya's been up to for this week.
We discussed before talking about the history of Xiulong and like how this emperor rose to power, assassination plots that have happened before, and so Manaya's looking for lineages, biographies, histories, and while she's in specifically biographies, she's also looking for records of who's lived in the city, specifically trying to find out, how long has Miss Jada Gao been here? Did she have any partners? How, anything about Nolly, how she was when she was in the city, that kind of thing.
Okay, so why don't you make an investigation check for your week to see how quickly you find that information and how thorough the information you find is.
Maybe I could also give some support insofar as Oka would also kind of be looking for stuff about Wang Boxian's family.
Yeah, totally. So you can roll that with advantage, Manaya.
Thank you, because I was going to keep that for. Okay, 14.
Okay,
better.
I think it takes you till the end of the week to find anything like really of value, but you feel like you're getting closer, right? Especially as Oka's helping to guide your hand. Like, oh, maybe it'll be in the family archives here, or maybe the census data, right? Like you're trying to you're jumping from like stack to stack.
I thought that's where you carved your name under. That's
No. That's the. Yeah, there's 2 different sections for census. It's a huge library. Just come on, it's gonna take like 25 minutes to walk there. Let's go.
Yep.
not if I beat you there. When I books, literally.
Oka flies.
Yeah. This is a huge library connected by like dozens of courtyards, like held up by huge like marble pillars, these like beautiful like statues and like break areas, lounge areas for just reading with like indoor waterfalls and like rock gardens and stuff. It's a massive complex, right? Tons and tons of books in here, millions at least of books. And it takes you to the end of the week, Manaya, to find, I think, maybe like a biography on your grandma, Jada Gao. Because she is like something of a notable figure in Dokao, being like the most highly regarded like imperial exam instructor. And there's like one particular photograph in this book of Jada and her only daughter, Nali. And this is Nali as like an adolescent. Maybe like your hand still's on this page as you're like in this like little reading nook with like Dewey and Oka like off to the side also reading their own books. And you just sort of see like Jada has like one hand up because Jada's so small and has always been small, like up on like Nali's shoulder. And appears to I'm gonna pause. Everything good, Lyra? Okay, cool. I'll just repeat from the beginning of my sentence. You see a photo with Jada, her hands reached up, touching Nali's shoulder, and Nali's dressed in these like a really stiff-necked tsipao, looks really uncomfortable in this like kind of restrictive dress, you know, like her like arms are shot out like a mannequin's, and like her hair is all done up in this really elaborate like these elaborate braids that look kind of painful, like raking down like her scalp, and she's like half grimacing at like the camera person, and like Jada sort of like clearly in the middle of like scolding her, and this is standing in front of like a newly erected like schoolhouse that you recognize now as the schoolhouse you visited, but this one looks a lot like younger and newly built. And the caption is Jada Gao with the pride and jewel of her exam school, Nali Gao. And Nali is wearing glasses, which I don't know if you've ever seen her wear before, like in this photo. And like maybe your like finger like pauses on like the black and white grain of the photograph as you like look at it. And I think that's a good place for us to transition over to go ahead, Manaya, go ahead.
Sorry, one last thing. Manaya's thumb lingers on it, and she shakes herself out of it. Look, Oka, looks like your family photos.
What? No way, I'm so much oh, well, she's kind of cute too. Wait, that's your mom.
No, I meant like not wanting to be there. You seemed so confined.
I don't know if that's I guess it's the minute you leave a place you realize how much you miss it.
Guess so.
And maybe that's a good place to transition over to what Oka's doing in the library. So Oka, you've been teaching Manaya swear words and showing Manaya all of your old haunts. Maybe because you're so preoccupied with Manaya, what Dewey's doing kind of slips under your radar as well. But I will allow you to insight check Dewey. And Dewey, you can make a contested deception check to hide your true intentions from Oka.
All right. Fuck.
I fucking swear to you. Natural 20.
Oh, I got
Plus-
3.
Plus, I have proficiency, so that's 27.
It doesn't matter. Dewey got a 3.
27.
I got a 3. Dewey's been doing a good job of like ducking behind shelves every time Manaya comes around because she's, you know, tall, easy to spot. Neither of them knows the shelves very well, but no match for Oka.
Yeah, I think Oka, you know, because they are a hunter and like they like walk on silent feet,
Damn it.
you know, and they're like breaking a soul. What the fuck is
Ah!
that?
Nothing. It's about working out.
Oh, like you don't work out though. You're like a wuss.
I.
And then Oka kind of laughs and like slaps him on the back and keeps walking. But they pause also and they make a mental note and they keep moving.
And maybe before we move on to Oka fully, pan back to Dewey. They're like, maybe like your feathers are a little ruffled from that like close encounter. So tell me, Dewey, over the course of this week, I think you're able to find all 3 books: To Break a Soul, Phylacteral Creation, and Thinning the Veils, Boundaries Between Mind, Body, and Heart. So I think, you wanted Tardnok and Kilohana to be able to work as soon as possible. So tell me, how have you been like sending these books out to them like ASAP? Have you been meeting them in Dokao, or have you been like sending it by carrier pigeon perhaps?
No, I think Dewey would. No, he would go out himself. He's the carrier pigeon. He sneaks out every couple nights and makes his way over just when there's like a lull in the living quarters.
Okay,
when everyone's
so
kind of.
So why don't you make a stealth check, and anyone who wants
Great.
to contest it with a perception can, including
Great.
V.
Do
And
I
Rev.
get advantage because I'm weirdly
Yes,
suspicious
yes.
of you? Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I'm also going to use my Flash of Genius just because it was not a great roll. I got a 14, so.
You do
What
have
roll did you say?
inspiration. Perception.
I
Yeah,
only
okay.
had a 12, so.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay. V got a 12.
I rolled pretty bad. I got like a 9, even
got
with
a s-
advantage.
17. With
17.
advantage.
Can anyone beat a 17? Manaya?
Yes.
Damn it.
What did Manaya get?
24.
Oh my god.
Manaya.
Nice perception is bonkers.
Well, they do sleep together, so they.
That's
That's
true.
fair.
So Manaya, I think you, maybe on like the 3rd night with a 24, because the difference between 17 and 24 is considerable, but not super big. It's the 3rd night of Dewey sneaking out that it rouses you. And you're like, huh? And like, I think you see just enough to see like Dewey whisk out of the room, like not enough time to call after him, but enough to see him like leave, right?
I think he's carrying this book, and some of the dust gets up in his nose, and he sneezes. And then
But
you
it's
hear
like
like,
a really-
yeah, it's like a quiet sneeze as Dad sneezes come, but then you hear like rapid like footsteps running away because he knows he
Yeah.
messed up.
Like on the tail end of Dewey's sneeze, which is very recognizable because Dewey has dad sneezes. You can like hear Dewey's little feet pitter-pattering away, and the bed is empty. And that's what you notice on the 3rd night. And Dewey, every time you've brought a book to Tardnok and Kilohana, under the cover of night, they've been very grateful. Like they actually update you. Like they've been able to find some gold and like money lying around. So they've been able to cut down the cost of like the money you'd have to like give them to like get the materials to make the god jar by like half. Right? They're like excited about that. And they're very grateful when you give them the books, and they're excited to work on this project with you. Okay. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to transition over to Oka for the rest of this week. So Oka, tell us, what have you been up to?
Oka has been trying to be the best monster hunter they can be while cooped up in the castle. Insofar as they have been, I think they they watch V a few nights, like as she gambles her way up. Once like she goes through some of the ruses, they come in at a different time and they just kind of stand and they like place a bet or two, and then they like come back, and then they go to the library with Dewey and Manaya during the day sometimes, and they're checking out. They go to the library and they look at Shuhai Meow's diary, and they like open up the accordion folds and they flip through them, and then they spend all day doing that basically, besides teaching Manaya swear words. And then at night, they go and spend time with their family. They like have dinners, and they wait in the hallway or outside in the courtyard for the Prince of Knives to show up, that motherfucker. And they're also keeping an eye out for the blue-skinned half-orc just around the castle. And if they see them in the complex, they'll just casually as they can, being, the black sheep of the castle, and everyone's looking at them, as casually as they can try to follow the spy around as much as they can before it becomes too obvious. So they're just all that is all.
Okay, I think there's a moment where, let's start with V first. When he sort of like pop by Queen Gua's like courtyard to see how V's doing. And V, I need you to tell me how you're trying to conduct yourself for the rest of this week to fight your way to Queen Gua herself after getting past the first hurdle.
Yep. So in the second hurdle, I feel like you actually don't see V from like, well, there is no sun, but what would typically be like sundown till like V's coming in when people should be waking up almost every day, like sweaty, hot, whatever. But for the second round, she's like ripped open. She's like really showing off the girls. She's really playing the sexy angle to distract people. She's flirting. She is making people fall in love with her at every single table and then taking them for all that they're worth. And they thank her for it.
Okay, round 2, the silver token round. Make a performance check, a sexy check, seduction check, please.
Oh, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. So, wait, you said performance?
Performance, yes.
I'm going to use 1 luck point.
Okay.
Damn, I'm trying to like, can't I use deception? Can't I use persuasion?
You know what? I would allow persuasion. I don't know about deception, though. I'd buy persuasion, yeah.
Then that's an 18.
Okay, an 18. That is sufficient. For the silver token round, I think like the final like gamble that pushes you over to the edge to like rank up into like the gold token round is one of the queen's other children. Princess Gua Basi. And she is like also a half Goliath, so quite massive, but taller and more svelte than Prin Guabu, her younger sibling. And she seems very taken by you, very enamored. I think you're across from her, like her eyes, she's like maybe also like, she's like in her early 20s. Like her eyes keep like traveling down to your cleavage and they're like snapping back up. She's getting a little flustered. She's got this like long braided hair. These 2 braids that sort of like swoop down like the front of her chest. She's also dressed in this like dragon twining around a snake like robe, but it's silver instead of like the gold that Prin Gua was wearing. And she flubs it because she's like so like stuttering and flustered and like looking at how pretty you are and like maybe you're hitting on her a bit. She like misplays her hand, right? So she goes, oh, my grade 8. See, I should not have discarded that tile. Mahjong again to you. What did you say your name was?
Oh, my name is Valley. Like, you know, like back in the valleys of Jukai, where I come from.
What a beautiful name. You know, I'm not a very good loser or a very good winner, but good job. You've won. She like sticks out a hand to like shake your hand.
And V, I think, is a little bit like leaned real back and like almost like, you know, legs crossed and just like reaches over and really leans over the table and like kisses the hand really slowly and then reaches back and like lets like the hand like sort of just slide away from her fingertips.
I'm sorry. Where did you say you were staying in the palace again? I don't know if I caught that exactly.
I thought it was your room.
And that's how you like advance to the next round, I think, to the gold round. So what's your tactic for the gold? This is the final line of defense before you get to the queen.
Okay. In the final cluster, I think at this point, V is, before joining any tables, is going to be like a lot more scouting, watching other people, kind of trying to look for strats and tells that they have. I think she's playing this one like this is, you know, this is the World Series of Mahjong, and she is studying all of her potential opponents before she goes in. And I think she's going to employ a lot of technique of like when she lays down tiles, she's gonna, it's still in her palm, she's gonna cast like minor illusion to make it look like a different tile, and then she's gonna release her hand and see if it's something that they're interested in or not. And she's gonna continue to manipulate the tiles that when they take things, then like as soon as they get to their hand, they're like, wait, this wasn't the one I wanted. You took it. You already took it. I'm sorry. And like kind of
Okay.
that type of style.
That's going to be a sleight of hand or deception check.
I'll take the sleight of hand.
Okay.
Does a 25 suffice?
Sure does. I think the final like mini boss, right, before you get to Queen Guo, is Queen Guo's eldest, the fifth born, Princess Guo Xiangru, 23 years old. And she, as a Goliath, has a completely shaved head. She sort of has like both aspects of her like younger siblings. She's both broad and tall, maybe 8 feet tall, I would say, sat down. And she conducts herself with a lot of composure. She's the toughest opponent you face yet, I think. And I think you lose a few rounds, right? And she's got your back against the ropes a few times, but then you like claw your way back up from like what appears to be like an unwinnable like pit of despair, right? You're like maybe down to like your final gold token, you know, like very like kakaguri like moment, you know, like when you're, you know, like chips are down, but you're able to fight your way back up through like an impossible bargain. And when like you put down your final mahjong, right? Like your final victorious collection of tiles, Princess Guo Xiangru, well played. You're very good at what you do.
I have to give you the utmost respect. You are one of the best players I've ever played against.
And she stands up and like extends like a ginormous hand to like shake your hand in a show of sportsmanship.
V slowly stands up, considers it. There's like this awkward amount of tension, and then she shakes it in the sign of respect back.
As she shakes her hand, she pulls you in, and with her strength, I think she's just able to do it because she's fucking ginormous. And she sort of says, as like people are sort of like clapping politely around you, and I think like this final room is like filled with like smoke, like cigar smoke everywhere, and it's like interior. There's like, you know, dancers in the back. She pulls you in and says, "If it's my mother that you seek to gamble with, tread carefully. She doesn't gamble with gold." And then she releases your hand and like gestures for you to like move on to like the next rung.
V like gathers up the last of her stuff. I almost feel like there's probably an employee who probably like is carrying all of V's chips or anything.
Yes, absolutely.
So-
at this point, yeah. Over the
he's
course
like-
of this week, you've like bonded with this lackey. You're best
Oh, yeah.
friends now. Like he knows everything about you. You know everything about him. Like he's like cheering you on the back.
Yep, and getting free drinks, comped everything, and like
Yep.
takes a little bow to those who are huge fans of Valley, and makes her way towards the next room or the next space.
Okay, I think that would take us to the final day of the week, but we're not quite there yet because we got to backtrack and get to Oka. Oka. Over the course of this week, I think you've seen V rise through the ranks of gambling, and like maybe after like she beats like the Princess Guobasi, you're like, okay, she's fine. Like she's fine. She like knows what she's doing. And as you investigate Shuhai Miao's accordion-like diary in the library, just make an investigation check for me. Yeah, as you flip through it, the pages seem blank, but
Natural one. Plus, let's see, plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
with a natural 1, you don't find anything of your own accord. You actually cut yourself. Paper cut. I think maybe you're kind of frustrated and you're like flipping through it. The pages are all blank. What the shit is this? So why don't you like flavor it a little as you get a paper cut?
Yeah. Oka, like, this is like the 4th day, the 5th day that they like have been just reading this book, and they know that there's a puzzle and they've been trying to solve it. They've even like taken out other books about reading codes and figuring out how to read codes, right? And they're like flipping through it again and again. And I think they just tried to like do something where they like they were like, okay, cast a magic on it. It did not work. And they're flipping through and they're like, fuck. And they just kind of like throw it down and it like just like glides across their hand. And they're, fuck, ow, bitch.
Yeah. as a droplet of blood comes out of your finger and splatters onto, let's just say, like a random middle section of the book. When the blood sinks into the parchment seems to, like, thirstily drink the blood. And where the blood hits the paper, words appear. And, like, as soon as the blood hits it, like, the blood is drunk by the parchment and the words disappear.
What words did I get?
Make a d20 check to see how lucky you are.
I swear, again, natural 20.
Okay, the words
That
are...
was a 20, a 1, and then a 20 again for me, by the way.
Do you want me to tell you what the words are, or do you want to keep gloating?
I would like the words, thank you.
Okay, the words are, the stranger came. And then it vanishes.
Bonking Erica before she can say anything. Oka stares down at the blood, at the words, the stranger, and this like bolt of red through one of their eyes as their eyes go wide, and then this huge smile like cracks across their face, and they look up at maybe Manaya or Dewey, who is sitting across from them at one of these big like study desks. Why didn't I fucking think of that before? But they say it with this huge smile. I need to go somewhere I can get a little dirty. Be back later. And they pick up the book and they go back and they make a total mess in the bathroom.
Okay.
I mean, dirty as in...
That doesn't sound great.
No, the returning prodigal prince does, well, they've done quite unspeakable things in these stacks here, says the old turtle, like, pushing a cart, like, past your group. And then we're gonna cut to inside this, like, privy, where you've, like, shuttered, like, the door shut. And let's just say, without getting too graphic with it, how much blood are you willing to lose?
Just a little bit. You know, they're gonna give themselves a nosebleed, okay? Don't freak out, everyone. And then they're just gonna hold their face over the book and like try to read it at the same time as it's like dripping down. And I think they're able to just kind of like pull like the blood motes out and like keep them like with one hand. I think they're like holding the blood above the book and just like kind of sliding like each word, like each like I guess droplet of blood like across the page to like read each line. And they start at the beginning. I definitely wouldn't lose enough blood. It's a diary. It's a big book. So definitely not enough to pass out, but they are reading it.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you what you see. That's also really smart. So I'm going to give you a point of inspiration for that. As you blood bend your own blood and begin reading the book this way, you notice that, first of all, the book is written in Nabalish, but you can understand it, even if you can't read Nabalish usually, right? You can tell there's sort of like it's obviously magical, right? You also know, too, something else you discover is that it seems to be particularly thirsty for your blood, and you get the sense that other people's blood wouldn't work on this book. Maybe only the Paragon of Sen's blood can work. The third thing you notice, of course, are the contents of this book. And long story short, it's essentially Shuhai Miao's recollection of a familiar nightmare. They describe a battlefield. They describe the stranger, wings and eyes, tears, black as tar and crimson as blood, dripping onto the ground, spawning monsters. If you read from the beginning, then you would know. It begins, I think the first sentence of Shuhai Miao's diary is, "We thought it was a comet, streaking across the sky, crash landing in the northern lands. Where it fell, it split the earth open and created a chasm. It emerged from this crack, ginormous, taller than the world, spanning wings, bristling with eyes. But as you continue to read Oka over the course of the week, something weird starts to happen. The words start to change. Not all of them all the time, but specific phrases just before your very eyes just disappear, and then new phrases come in, right? A specific phrase that disappears says, the monsters that attacked us were pathetic and weak. And then it erases itself and says, we're bristling and monstrous. And then like new paragraphs are added, you know, that like get more specific about the kinds of monsters. Like Shuhai Miao essentially describes like the chicken boys in one passage and like the face stealer in another, right? And you see it rewriting and like unwriting and rewriting itself in front of your eyes.
What is that? Do I understand anything about how that's happening?
Make an Arcana check.
Natural 1. I rolled a 20, a 1, a 20, and now a 1 again.
What the hell is happening, C? Do you want to keep that
That's
one?
a 4. Yeah, I'll keep it. It's a 4 total.
I think with a nat 1, the answer completely... It's almost... Okay, this is a dumb conclusion for you to draw about magic, but it's almost like Shuhai Miao is still writing it. Like their ghost or something is still like writing it. Almost like the book isn't finished. And sure enough, you get to the final few pages of this diary and they're empty. It just sort of like ends in the middle of a description of the battle that hasn't ended yet.
Okay. My brain is moving 10,000 miles an hour. And I think Oka is like in bed, you know? Like V's out gambling. Rev, I think, is asleep. And Oka is like in bed with like the last few like droplets of blood like kind of on their fingertips. And they like run one across and nothing shows up. And they're like brow furrows and they run another one across. And then like, what the fuck? And they like run like again and again and again and again until like they realize that it's not done. And they like sit back and kind of like chew on, or I guess like they slide the last bit of their blood just like kind of back into their mouth and think for a really long time. And the dream that night feels that more vicious, like that much more vicious, I think, with that knowledge in hand.
And I think on the heels of that dream, the 8th day dawns. Let's start with V. V, on the 8th night, let's say, you have fought your way into Queen Guo's personal gambling chamber. It's an opulent room with, I think you step inside this room and it's filled with smoke, like the richest tobacco smoke in all of Tu Long. And you see these like beautiful statues of like various celestial emissaries, right? Of Tu Long, wrought from, it seems like pure silver, like adorning the corners of this room. In one corner, you see what appears to be a white tiger. In another corner, you see like a black tortoise with a serpent coiling out of its body. You see a phoenix in another corner, and a dragon in a final corner. And sitting, the only other feature in this room is a mahjong table. Two what appears to be maybe like servants seated across from each other. And then the final person seated at this mahjong table on one side is Queen Guo Ru Chong. She is a ginormous Goliath woman, about 8.5 feet tall, with long, silvery white hair braided in these thick plaits down her back. And she sort of like just sat there with her fingers steepled in front of her chest and a slight smile on her face. And her face looks almost like wolfish, I think is the best way to describe it. Like predatory, but also grinning. She cocks her head to the side, she looks at you. Valley! I've heard a lot of things about your play. You are making quite the ruckus these past few days. Please, have a seat. And she gestures toward the one unoccupied chair.
V does like a little bow to the queen, walks to the empty seat, and actually pulls out the the diadem of truth, and it's kind of like swirling it around her fingers. She sits down and sets it on the table next to her. I've been so excited to get an audience with you this entire week.
I as well. I'm excited to gamble against someone who has been all the buzz of my courtyard this past week. What's
Well,
that?
I must confess, I've played all across Andake, and this has been some of the most fun I've ever had. A little easy, but I had fun.
Well, you've never gambled against me, Valley. And she directs her gaze to the crown, sort of just on the table. And I think your pockets are jangling with like golden tokens. You know what I mean? Like you have plenty, you have so many just on your person. But there are no tokens on the table at all. And you don't see Queen Ghoul having any barrels of money, or either of her servants having it either. She looks down at the diadem and says, "That's a crown of truth. A real one by the looks of it. Where'd you get your hands on such a valuable item?"
Oh, just some old beau gave it to me, before I burned down his entire apartment. It was, gifts from lovers. You know how it is.
Is that your wager?
Well, I mean, I have to see what you're wagering. I don't know if this is a call or a raise. Who knows? So what is your bet?
My wager. And she lifts a hand up into like an open palm gesture, and then she like squeezes it into a fist. And you feel the weave in this room just tighten as each of the 4 statues in the corners, like the gemstones embedded in their eyes, light up. And you feel like a massive zone of truth just sort of like lock down this entire room. Would you like to try to attempt a whiz save? Or are you
Might
gonna let
as
it
well.
happen?
Let's
Okay.
try it.
Okay, go for it. You're gonna make it with disadvantage in this room.
Well, I can only get one worse then. 6 total.
That is not quite sufficient, V. As you
Think
feel
it
like
is
the weave like tightens around your soul. Maybe there's like a moment where you like feel the magic like working against your body. And Queen Gua just sort of like cocks her wolf-like head to one side, right? Like her silver hair shimmering against her shoulders as she sees you try to resist it and fail. Like I said, you've never gambled against me before, Valley. I don't wager in trifles such as gold or trinkets like magical items. No. And she pushes the diadem like across the table back to you for you to keep. I wager in secrets.
Ooh, my favorite. He puts it away and sort of like gets like a real cocky, just like, I'm so excited for this round.
Let's begin. Winner gets to ask the loser anything they want, and obviously the loser must respond truthfully. Do these stakes feel fair to you?
Do I have much of a choice? I've always wanted to play with the second wife, I hear is actually better than the first, but here we are. So.
Oh, you've got lip. Oh, if Queen Mo could hear what you said, she'd strike you down where you sat. But I'm not Queen Mo.
Thank goodness. Let our tiles speak for us from this point forward.
Let's begin. And she gestures with her hands, and tiles like rise out of the table, and you begin to play. So V, for round 1 to decide who wins and who loses, I'm gonna ask for an opposed check between you, and I'm gonna roll for Queen Gua. So tell me how you're approaching round 1 of your gamble.
Honestly, I think V is going to play this first round in particular pretty straightforward. She's actually looking more for style and again tells She's not afraid to lose this round if it tells her important information.
Okay, I will have you roll for disadvantage. If it means I'll also give you like additional information if you didn't roll with disadvantage, if that makes sense.
Let's do it.
Okay. Even if you lose, you'll get something useful, is what that means.
Well, that was a nat 20.
Disadvantage, my friend.
Nat 20 again!
What is happening? Why are all of you rolling nat 20s? Okay, I gotta give it to you. So what's the total?
Shit, what was the
I don't know. You tell me. What skill are you
let's
using?
see, I think that's just a performance, right?
Okay, performance. Go for
So
it.
that'll be a 23.
Oh, a 23 total?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I switch?
No, you said performance. That's not sufficient. But holy shit, you got a double nat 20. I'm going to give you so much juicy information. Don't worry. I think she wins. She gets to ask you first, but you get information about her. She wins the first round. I think it's a tight one. Her servants aren't like even they're like not even close. They're just there to sort of fill the space. They like need extra butts and seats. It's really against the two of you. She declares, like, she takes her final tile and, like, puts tiles down and, like, forms a full set. Maybe you were, like, 1 or 2 tiles away, right? From, like, forming your own. She goes, that was a close one. You're pretty good at this game, Valley. If that even is your real name.
Well. And V just, like, returns a stare, like, obviously, this is someone very high up, and V just doesn't act unabashed at all and just stares. Are you going to take your wager?
I'll ask my question. And my question for you, Valley, is what are your true intentions in the Slumbering Palace? What are you here to really find out?
Well, there's our number one intention is we're saving Andake. Me and my friends, we're here, we're paragons, we're saving everything we can. And in order to do that, we've got to protect the paragon that's here at the palace.
Very well. A fine answer. Very good. Next round. And you find out something very important about her is one of her tells. When she either gets a really good hand or a really bad hand, she laughs. She only laughs when things are going really well for her or really poorly. So, like, that's her tell. And that's what you find out with your double nat 20. And as you move on to the second round, I think... You know what? Let's resolve it here. Actually... Oh, how do I want to structure this? Yummy narrative. Okay. Tell me your tactic for approaching the second round.
I think in the second round, I'm trying to like keep it a little bit fresh here. Do I want to get real spicy? I think in the second round, has V, like, the servants who are playing, she's, like, heard their voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the person who goes before her, I think she's going to cast message and doing a very convincing impression of them, try to get them to give tiles that V needs. And then to the one on the right, trying best to get to discard ones that V thinks the queen doesn't
need. Okay, that's gonna be like a deception or persuasion check, and I'm gonna roll for Queen Ghoul as well.
I think that's deception.
Okay.
Please. 24?
You get to roll with advantage. Given but a 24 is also really high. You can roll that again with advantage if you want.
Well, 24 is still the highest.
Okay, you win. You win the second round. I think because of your tactic. And Queen Gua just goes, As you lay down your tiles and show that you've won. And I think this time it wasn't even that close. Like, you win pretty fast. Ah, 1 for 1. Okay. Ask away. Take what's rightfully yours.
Do you have any reason to kill the Emperor?
At that, Queen Gold blinks, and like looks at you with a startled look in her face. Kill the Emperor? Reason from me? Absolutely not.
Can I just tune in the weave to make sure we're still in some zone of truth here?
Yes, I wouldn't fuck with you. Out of character, she's telling the truth. She is
Okay.
also in the zone of truth.
All right. Well, that's a relief off of my mind, I'd hate to be playing a game with a no-good, dirty, rotten murderer who's attempting assassination, who may be doing things to take down one of the Paragons, who may be needed to save the entire world of Andake. So I'm grateful that...
Hold on. The Paragon is the Emperor?
Oh, that's so sweet that you don't know so much information. Oh, that's cute.
Next round. And as we cut to the next round, we're gonna go to Manaya and Dewey, I think. In the palace. In the Royal Library. So this is the final day of books. And of doing research. And Dewey, at this point, I think the previous night you'd sent out the final book, and that was the night where Manaya saw you sneak out, but you don't know that Manaya saw you sneak out. So I think the two of you are sitting at your usual table and poring over books, right, and looking at stuff. And Dewey, maybe you feel a little relieved because you've gotten all the books and you've gotten them out of the palace, and they're now in Tarnak and Kilohana's hands, right? So go ahead.
Are you finding anything on the seventh spouse?
Uh,
Or the sixth? I haven't found either of their names in any of these books today.
Truthfully, Dewey, I've been practicing writing, taking a little break from research.
Oh,
Would you look over this?
Sure. I'm writing in 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm trying to write a basic self-introduction. Hello, my name is Manaya, etc.
Sure. The characters look right. What for?
That's not what it says, though. Taking another page out of V's book. The characters read out and translate as, I saw you go out at night. Where? The grammar isn't all there, but
I think Dewey freezes, eyes glued to the paper. Why do you need this? Why are you writing this?
well, in case I need to introduce myself. The best thing to do in a conversation is to give as much of yourself in hopes that the same can be reciprocated. A conversation is about trust, you see.
Have I ever done anything to break that trust so far? In my trust in my abilities in 2.
Certainly not. I mean, you're one of the smartest men I know. And our goals here are singular. I wouldn't imagine you'd have any ulterior motives.
No, we're all trying to do the same thing. Though through different language, through different means. Same goal.
So, what do you think? Did I write everything out correctly?
I think it'll work.
All right. I trust you.
Cardu! And interrupting your cryptic conversation is a familiar voice, Dewey. And you turn to see Liangya, one of Oka's sisters, who's got these like big thick spectacles on. She's always clutching a stack of books in the library. She looks even more at home. She's like holding this like stack of books close to her chest, and she's like peering over the top of them. Oh, hi, Cardu. I thought I recognized you. Oh, hello. You must be Manaya, right?
Manaya, in getting most of the tones correct, turns around and says, Insiu, hello. Yes, my name is Manaya. How are you?
Oh, I didn't know you could speak to you. Liangya says, like, into you. I'm doing very well.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not that good. Just a beginner.
Oh, well, your tones are very good already. I'm very impressed. You should keep at it. Cardu, I just wanted to come here and say hello. And, oh. And I think at that point, all three of you notice a, half fire Ganassi boy that at this point you're like, oh shit, he's been standing next to Liangya this entire time. You just have not noticed him because he's so forgettable. He's like the most boring boy you've ever seen in your life. And I'm saying that as an objective statement of truth. I'm not even going to describe him. That's how boring he is. He's a half Ganassi, which is interesting, but not him. And he's just sort of stood there. And the other guy goes, oh, Ren. Hi. Sorry, I didn't notice you there. Is everything okay? Are you still... Where's your parent? I thought you were with them.
My parent went off to, get some snacks for studying for the exam. Hello, new people.
Dewey does his best to introduce himself into. It's significantly less fluid than Manaya's.
Oh, you don't have to use to. It's okay.
No. Manaya, sputters out a couple of words in Siu, but this is a new person she's never met, so she defaults to common.
Oh, hello. I'm Ren. Mu Ren.
This is, Prince Mu Ren, 10th born. Son of Consort Mu Piao. 5th spouse. We were actually all studying together. Would you want to sit together?
Manaya looks at Dewey.
Yeah, I'd love to see what everyone's studying. I'm sure it's very advanced stuff.
Oh, yeah. I, failed the Imperial exam last year when I was 18, so I'm taking it again this year when I'm 19, and Mom says if I fail it again, it'll be a big disappointment. I don't want to be a big disappointment.
I'm sorry, what was that, Ren? I couldn't... You were sort of slurring what you were saying.
I said I don't want to be a big disappointment anymore. My mom said to me for the exam.
Yeah. Good job. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Ren leads, or rather Liangya, leads the two of you to where she and Ren have been sitting. And it's like this big study table with like tons of books stacked up. And like Liangya's notes are out, and like just looking at it, it's like advanced trigonometry, like really intense philosophical like arguments and whatnot, like really like graduate college like level stuff right like here. And she's like 18. She sits down and there's like an empty seat. There are 2 extra seats that it seems like Liangya drags over, and there's an empty seat where you assume the 5th spouse would sit. You all sit around, and Prince Mu-Ren just seems to have a habit of just like muttering to himself, and just sort of like as he's like flipping through books, and you're not sure if he's talking to you or not, right? But when you respond to him, he seems to respond back, but it's really hard to pick up what he's saying.
Oh, Goodness. These imperial exams, I've heard they were difficult, but
Yeah, they're really hard. I failed it last year. Mom says I'm a failure if I fail it again this year. I don't want to be a failure,
Hey,
Mom.
hey. First of all, I may not be able to understand much of what you're saying, but I did hear one word that I firmly disagree with.
What is it?
When I grabs one of his hands in both of hers.
Oh,
You are a member of the Imperial family. You cannot be a disappointment. Every one of you is destined for greatness. Whether you see it now or whether you see it 7 years down the line. Right?
oh.
But hey. And hey. You're sitting next to someone who maybe seem a little bit intimidating, but I can't read Sioux, but I can read those numbers, and Liang, yeah, your aerodynamics here are a little off. If the wind is going south-southwest, then it should be divided by 2, not 2.5 here.
Are you correcting Prince Mu or Liangya?
Liang, yeah. I'm just
That is not
pointing out
correct.
a little.
No, there are no flaws.
Damn.
She
Never
does
mind
not
then.
make mistakes. No, you can
Never mind
correct
then.
Prince Mu though.
In that case, Prince Mu, you are not a disappointment. All you need is a little help. Right here, 2, not 2.5.
Oh, I'm not really good at decimals. They're kind of intimidating.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't do decimals very often either. I tend to count on my fingers, but
Me too.
years on the sea.
I don't know why we
Years
can't
on
just
the
keep
sea.
counting on our fingers all the time. From the sea?
Let me show you a trick. In Uhanahi, we count not with just our fingers, but with the digits on our fingers. That way you can get all the way up to 12 on just one hand.
Wow. You're from Uhanahi? I want to go to Uhanahi. I like the beach. I would like to go to the beach sometime. The dream shield's up, and now we can't go out. Dream shield, in or out, and the emperor said,
And he just starts to kind of go off, you know? Like, there was a moment where he was, like, on the same page as you and you were affirming him, but now he's thinking about the beach and, like, going to the beach. And he's just sort of, like, going off and, like, thinking about it and talking about it. And, like, as he sort of goes off, Liangya leans in and says, Manaya, just let him keep talking. He'll tire himself out.
Manaya sighs, squeezes his hand, and lets go.
He's a sweet boy. I just don't know if he's really fit for something as rigorous as the exam. I think he'd be really good as like a painter or something. But his mom/parent, consort Mu, well, they're a little. And Liangya stops talking as Dewey and Manaya, you hear footsteps approach, and a voice go, Rennie dear, I got you your favorite snacks and your mother's favorite snacks. And bustling into frame is a fire ganassi person with this like long flaming red hair and a smattering of golden freckles across their front forearms. And they're like holding like this big jar that they've covered up in like a piece of parchment that they're like sort of like wadding like scooching forward with. And they stop short when they see the newcomers. Oh my. Oh, hello there. Liang, yeah, who might these newcomers to our table be? Oh, Consort Mu. This is Cardew Quirk and this is Manaya Wairua. They're friends of Oka's. Well, it's great to meet you. This is, of course, my son, Ren. And Consort Mu sits down and places the big jar of unknown snacks onto the table. Thanks for keeping my son company. The gods know he needs some. I'm always telling Rennie, get out there, make some friends, but it's hard for him to come across. Hard for myself as well here in the palace, but we make do with what fate gives us.
You find people wherever you like to hang out, so it's a good thing. I mean, of course, we would run into you here, like minds, if you will.
Yes, the library. That famous last refuge for introverts and intellectuals alike. Glad to see that I am in such same-minded company. And they sort of like run like a nervous hand through their flaming red hair, and you're not sure if they're just like nervous about something or if there's just like a generally anxious person. Maybe a combination of both. They seem to like be like in like a mild state of shock at like being encountering a new situation in familiar territory. As they turn to like their son, they go, "All right, well, Rennie, I got you your favorite snacks. Here, and all of you can partake as well." And as they like start to like take like the tarp off of the jar, we're gonna cut to Oka. At long last, Oka. We find you this night, the same night as Duyem and I are meeting the fifth spouse, the same night that V is meeting the second wife. We find you outside of Toya's room, I think in the fourth wife's courtyard, your mother's courtyard. So why don't you paint us a picture of what you're up to?
Oka has taken to having horribly awkward family dinners in which Toya doesn't look at them at all, and Sambaya cries at least one time, and they maybe cry in the spice cabinet like every night. So they're done with one of those. They have been like helping their mother into bed, and talking with Sambaya. And if Lianga, I assume Lianga is in the library right now, so Lianga is not there. So they talk with Sambaya for a little while, and then they wait in the hallway because Sambaya said that a masked figure came in through the window at the end of the hall, came down the hallway, and went into Toya's room. So Oka has just been, I think they're like leaned up against that windowsill, but on the inside. So if you looked in, you wouldn't be able to see them unless you got your entire head in. They're just leaned up against that wall, like rolling a cigarette and just waiting like they have been waiting for a few hours every night.
You wait there rolling a cigarette and you strike gold on the 8th night. You hear branches tapping against the window as someone climbs the tree, right? Like right outside this window and like starts shifting their weight around on the branches. And then you just hear like the window like creak open, like outward. And someone starts to crawl through the windowsill. And at this point, it's like quite late, right? It's quite late, like maybe 10 or 11 p.m. And a figure drops silently onto the ground without having noticed you yet, because you're standing in the corner behind them. The Prince of Knives. Hooded leather armor, mask like Chinese opera singer, with this like belt strapped to their waist and like a knife like in a hilt at their belt. They drop like a cat silently and they start to straighten.
I think Oka waits for them to get like one step in, and then in just like one quick motion, they step behind, wrap their like arm around the Prince of Knives' chest and just tip them both out the window, like just backwards and out, both of them holding onto the Prince of Knives.
Okay, I think you just do it. The Prince of Knives goes, oh! Silent as they came. You tip out the window and you start to tumble through the air. How are you trying to land?
On them.
Okay, make an acrobatics check.
I'll use a point of inspiration this time. 22.
Yeah, you land with a thud on them. They break your fall. They're gonna take some falling damage. What the? And they like try to flip around and like attack you because I think they assume that it's like an assailant trying to get them, right? And in a flash, you see them like reach for their dagger and they start to pull it out. But you've got them pinned on the ground.
Yeah, Oka steps on their wrist, with one foot. Hey, been a minute. What are you doing in my old house?
Okay, the Prince of Knives has a mask on, but you swear you see the eyes widen in shock and terror as the Prince of Knives freezes. Oka, Hey, it's been a while. I guess you got past Queen Mo and the Emperor?
If you were anything of a good spy, you would have known exactly what have happened. I have been here all week, yeah. Yeah, it's funny we keep ending up like this.
I was just,
You know what's really funny? Sambaya. I came to her sword demonstration. I'm sure you heard about that. That sword that she got, the big one, double-hander, she said to me that somebody walking into Toya's room from the window gave it to her as a bribe. And you know, between family, we don't really keep secrets. Did you give my sister a sword? Answer correctly, or I'll cut off your hands.
Oka.
Card, please.
Oh, yep, sorry.
Okay.
Or I'll step on your face.
Oka? Oka, listen, please. Just listen, okay? Yes, I gave Sambaya a sword, alright? I didn't want anyone else to know about anything they didn't have to know about.
When you said that you were, and Oka like kind of gets down and like grabs the front of their armor and pulls them up a little. When you said that you were in love with my sister, I thought this was like a cute schoolyard crush from like afar.
It is. Well, I mean, not from afar, but I promise my intentions with your sister are nothing but pure.
Insight check?
Okay, roll insight.
15.
Define pure for me, Azoka.
Non-malicious.
Then that is true. That and only that is true, maybe? I would never hurt Toya. I love her.
Fine. Fine. But if you fuck it up, we don't have to talk about it. Because you won't. Right?
Of course not. I would never do anything to fuck your fuck it up. Fuck up what I have with your sister.
All right, I'm gonna do this just once. And Oka takes the dagger out of the Prince of Knives' hand and just one quick stab.
Wait, you don't know what that? Roll a D100.
$48?
Okay. You take the dagger out of the Prince of Knives' hands, and when you start stabbing it down, the blade, which was silver, turns to fire. And like stabs inside the Prince of Knives' chest, and they go, oh, not that one. Okay, at least it wasn't the serrated one. As you like pull it out, and the flames like sort of snuff out. Okay. Ow. Are we even?
All right. Yep, we're even. And Oka casts healing hands on the Prince of Knives. They like slap where they had just stabbed them. Good. Now we're gonna go to Prince Moa. Excuse me. Now we're gonna go to Queen Moa. Good? Let's go.
What? But I... Okay, fine. I'll take you to the queen, but Oka, are you sure? You escaped her already. Are you sure you want to walk into the lion's den?
What lion's den? I am the lion.
I don't know exactly what Queen Moa has up her sleeve. The woman has as many secrets as she does scales, but... Just tread carefully, okay, Oka? I'll take you there, but... guard your heart.
Why are you working for her?
Pays the bills. I get to be in the palace.
You should seek employment elsewhere, I think. Just generally. If she found out about this...
I know. You have my head. I'll think about it, okay? Fine, I'll take you to the queen. Just, like I said, just be careful, Oka, okay? It would break Toya's heart if you never mind.
I don't know if it would break her heart as much as you think it would.
No, I know her. She's been torn up this week. We don't have to talk about it. Let me take you where we need to go. And you see, like, the Prince of Knives is actually suddenly, like, their tone changes in the middle of their sentence, and they start to, like, try to, like, usher you out while still, like, touching the middle of their chest. And I think based on your passive perception, you see some movement in the window of Toya's room. And you see, like, the window crack open, and you sort of, like, see Toya, like, stick her head out and, like, look around, and your sister is in, like, lingerie. She's, like, looking around, like, and she's, like, whispering out loud a name. So why don't you make a perception check?
18.
Toya sort of going, Sava? Sava, where are you? Sava? Mhm. Toya looks down and sees you with the Prince of Knives, and she lets out a noise only bats can hear and very small dogs, and she closes the window and like her shadow disappears from the frame. The Prince of Knives / Sava goes, okay, we don't have to talk about that. Queen Wars, right, follow me.
I think the one stab was fine. I just really needed to get that out of my system. I'm sorry about it.
Yep, no, you don't have to apologize. I understand. Let's go. And I think we're gonna cut to the Prince of Knives leading you to Queen Moore's quarters, the courtyard of the first wife. You arrive under cover of darkness. Sava shows you, like, back routes in. Right, like scaling like a weakness of the wall here, like going through a tunnel there, right, like shuffling through the bushes here. Like, this is how you figure Sava moves through the first wife's courtyard undetected until you reach her private chambers. Similar to the eighth wife's private chambers, right? Like each wife or spouse has their own little like nook, their own little special like inner chambers. Sava stops right outside like the low wall leading in to the first wife's like private courtyard, like just for her. And Sava pauses and says, this is as far as I can take you. She's probably getting ready for bed right now.
What, no introduction?
Again, if she knew I brought you here of my own volition without my life on the line, she would have my head.
We could put your life on the line. I don't really mind that.
Oka, please. Please.
Fine. Just get out of here. And just get out of here.
Okay. Hey, be careful. All right? You're a lion, but that woman is some sort of dragon or something.
I'm well acquainted. Sava.
Don't... Okay, whatever. Bye. Be careful! And the Prince of Knives just disappears back the way they came. And you're now alone in this courtyard, with like little moths fluttering around you, the cold chill of the night folding in around you like a blanket. What do you do?
I push open the doors.
Okay. You push open the doors and you stride like directly in to like Queen War's private chambers. And the first area you enter is like a private like antechamber, like a foyer almost, that has like another set of doors like leading in. And there are 2 guards in the foyer who immediately like straighten to attention as you push the doors open.
Evening. I have a meeting. Tea, I think.
The first wife doesn't take any meetings after 10.
Special circumstance. Or are you going to tell her that?
I cannot let you through. I know who you are. We all know who you are.
Of course you do. I'm not asking you let me through. I'm asking you to tell the queen that I've arrived for our meeting.
And the answer is no. Guards. And the voice of Queen Moore rings through the antechamber through the closed door, clear as a bell, tapped on a religious ceremony. Let them through. And the two guards look at each other through their plate armor, look back at you, like holding their halberds, and then they muscle the door open silently.
See? What did I tell you? I'm expected.
You walk into Queen Moa's private chambers. The guards close the main door, but they keep the antechamber door open, so they're still there and they can hear what's going on, I think. Watching carefully. They're not going to close the door alone on you with their queen. It's a vast room with various other rooms branching off of it, similar to the guest chambers, but like 10 times more opulent and elaborate. There's like a huge bed in the back, like a massive like tea chamber area, like a little tea nook. There's like a balcony that would be beautiful during the summer, and is magically enchanted to also stay warm in the winter and to provide like a breathtaking view of like the private gardens outside, right? Maybe like a quarter of a mile large are these private gardens just for Queen Moa. And you can sort of see like fish swimming in silver waters, just like maybe like a couple dozen feet out to your left past the balcony area. Queen Moa is taking off her makeup. She's sitting in front of a mirror in like a little powder corner. And she's surprisingly vulnerable, right? Like she's in like not these like huge like robes, like gilded up and down with these like big neck flares. It's just sort of like night robes. Right? Like they're still beautiful, of course, and silken and silver, but they're almost plain in comparison to like the ostentatious peacock colors of her son, Prince Moa. Queen Moa Guilian is a red dragonborn woman with a flat human-like face and these scales that go up her neck and sort of like riddle around like her jaw and her forehead. And she has these beautiful crests, almost like a lizard's crest, like fanning out from her neck and all the way like toward the back of her skull. And you see like her favorite steel fan is sort of like closed up and like on the powder desk next to her. And she's like in the middle of like sort of like drawing like a makeup wipe over her face. And you can sort of see her look at you through the mirror. You know what I mean? As you like step in through the threshold. Ah, Makoya. Welcome home. Every word of her coming out of her mouth drips with sarcasm.
Uka meets it, I think. Even as a child, they were she's so bitter. And Uka just kind of in tandem lets it out. I really should have you to thank for the homecoming present. I wouldn't be here without you.
You're welcome, though you've never been much in terms of a grateful brat.
Maybe because you never even gave me anything to be grateful for.
A good parent would spend time with their stepchildren. A better stepchild would deserve it.
I don't pretend to have any interest in my familial relationship with you. At least do me the same courtesy. What did I ever do to you, huh? The second I can remember meeting you for the first time as a child, you looked at me the same way you're looking at me now. All disdain, all vicious mockery. What did I ever do to deserve that?
What did you ever do to deserve that? Huh. You were born.
Is that my problem?
You should have died 8 years ago in that grove. The beast should have killed you. Finished the job. Now look at you. Washed up, covered in scars. You don't even look like a prince. No, you don't even look like some mud-addled peasant, much less a member of the royal order.
And you don't speak like one.
Speak like one? I don't speak like one. And yet I am the first wife, the queen. And what are you? Nothing. Nothing at all, but a shame and a disgrace.
So what? So the fuck what? I'm nothing. I'm shame and a disgrace. Why even bother bring me back here to try to kill me, huh? If I'm nothing, then why do you act like it's your life's mission to destroy me? I'm already destroyed. Can't you just fucking leave me alone?
Queen Moore's eyes narrow, and she lowers the makeup wipe from her face and puts it on the table. And still maintaining eye contact with you through the mirror, she says, with a smile now glimmering on her mouth, "You have always been a fool, Makoya Hien. You call it, what, coincidence? That a divine beast was just simply there in the sacred grove? Accidentally mauled you? Almost gored you to death? You think that was mere happenstance? No, Makoya. There have always been forces greater and more powerful than you, shaping everything you have ever meant to be. 8 years ago, I intercepted a missive to the Emperor from some wannabe scientist chasm wretch about aberrations in the fabric of the weave. How every few years magic spikes, drives emissaries wild. Well, if she wasn't going to disown you, then I'd guide her hand. I had my guards scour the sacred grove for such aberrations. And what would you have it? We found one in the form of a corrupted Telian. It took a lot of work. It cost the lives of some of my best monster hunters, wrangling that magnificent beast into a cage, and then letting it loose when the time was right. When you and your stupid sisters were playing hooky in the grove.
Shut up. You're lying.
You were supposed to die. All of you. You and your siblings. Death down the vein. But you didn't, Makoya. You killed it instead, which, honestly, was the second best outcome. If the Telian couldn't destroy you, then your own dumb arrogance would. The slaying of a celestial beast, as you and I both know, is a capital offense, Makoya. But your mother-father, your handsome, intelligent, foolish mother-father couldn't bear the thought of their second-born brat taken to the chopping block. I was close, Makoya, I was so close to convincing them that your head needed to roll. But then your bitch of a mother got in the way.
Shut up. I will kill you where you stand.
She batted her eyelids and she begged and pleaded and sobbed and wept at the feet of your mother-father and got them to spare you. Which is how we arrived at exile. If not murder, if not execution, then exile would be the third best outcome. Everyone in the kingdom thinks you escaped your execution, Makoya, but you didn't. Your mother-father spared you. That night, when Dream Hunter was supposed to separate your dull head from the rest of your equally dull body, the Emperor sheathed her blade and bade you to flee instead and to never come back. And what did you do? You came back. So leave, Makoya. Leave now. I know you could kill me if you wanted to. Don't you think I heard about the scuffle in the throne room, the bolt of divine lightning shooting out of your unworthy body? Don't you know? I know. I don't know, and frankly, I don't quite care what kind of atrocity you committed to acquire that power, but I am no fool. Makoya Hien, I am many things. Makoya, the first wife, the queen, a hard-hearted, stone-cold bitch, but I am not a fool. You could kill me. You could kill the guards in this chamber and kill me and not lose a droplet of sweat or blood yourself, and I would die. But so would you. Because killing me, no, even threatening me as you just did, signs your own death warrant, Makoya. I know you don't care if you die, because you and I both know your life is worth nothing. But your mother? Your mother? if you are executed at long last by the loving hand of your own father, then you would just break your poor mother's heart. And isn't she so close to dying already? From heartbreak? And what would your poor little siblings do without you? Oh, Yaya might
it's
just...
fucking culling edge time.
Okay, yep, go ahead. So describe to me what you do.
It's just in the middle of that sentence that Oka can finally take it absolutely no longer. And just this complete ricochet of like, it's all lightning and blood, and like the blade just comes like, Oka grabs it, and the lightning just like is roiling up off the top, and they point it right at her. If you keep speaking, I will make you feel the pain that you have put me through. Every single piece. I will make you feel it.
Do it. Do it, Makoya. For once in your life, do something and kill me.
I'm gonna make a roll. I'm just gonna make my own goddamn roll. It's a natural 20. What? It's a natural 20.
That's like the fifth natural 20 we've rolled this session.
That's like the fourth natural 20 I've rolled this session.
What does that mean? What does your natural 20 mean, Oka?
No. No. Because that's your trap, isn't it? Why else would you have told me all of that? You think I'm a fool? You think I'm nothing? Fuck you. I am more powerful than you will ever be in your entire life. I have loved more and more deeply than you will ever know in your entire life. And you're afraid of me. And I will let you die alone and afraid of me because you will not kill me. Queen Mo, I will live to fucking spite you.
Ugh. You dull, pathetic little wretch. You take after your mother. Fine. Then leave. If you're not going to finish the job, then leave. Leave my quarters, leave the palace, leave Dokao, leave Tulong for good and never come back.
Why would I ever do anything you ever tell me? Yes, I am a wretch. I'm a horrible little prince because I don't fucking listen to you or anyone. No, this is my home. You will pry it from my cold, dead hands.
How angry are you?
Uh-oh. Angry?
Like on a scale of this is the angriest I've ever felt in my life to, I stubbed my toe. How angry are you?
I'm the angriest I've ever been in my life.
Okay. Vinash. Feeding off of your rage. Sparks off of your body on the final word of your sentence. And like I think you can't control it at this point. A bolt of red lightning shoots off of your shoulder and like smashes against like the ceiling, right? And like plasma bolts, like more of it starts like shooting off of you. And I think you're like struggling to contain it at this point. Like maybe like little bits of static electricity have been roiling off of you toward the beginning of that sentence. And when you finish it, sort of like comes off in a cavalcade, right? The two guards rush in. Queen Mo like pushes her chair back and looks at you like startled, but then her face becomes like savagely victorious, right? For like a split second, she gets up and she says, oh, what is this? Your words say one thing, but it appears that this little magic trick you've gotten your dirty, grubby little hands all over is uncontrolled.
Fine, but stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Fuck you.
Hate. You feel Vinash's voice rising up in your soul. Hate. Brrr. We hate her.
We hate her. No, that's what she, no.
Attack her. Kill her.
This is the nat 20. Fuck you. And Oka spreads their wings and flies up and out of the hole that they made in the ceiling.
Okay. Oka, you smash through the ceiling just as the guards arrive and like swing their swords at you, because clearly what's happening with you is super unstable and they're trying to take you down to protect the queen. But you smash through the ceiling, right? Like beams of wood raining down like a massive cloud of dust, just all the way into Queen Wa's private chambers. And as you ricochet out, like Vinash's voice growling in your head, you also hear Queen Wa's voice laughing, cackling like the bat out of hell that she is after you. She's going, that's right, flee, run away, Makoya, run. For all your big talk, you're nothing but a scared little child that I will crush under my thumb when the time is right.
All right, one lightning bolt just through the hole that I made, just for fun. One big one.
Okay, roll a d20.
Add anything to it?
Nope.
A 9.
Okay, noted. A lightning bolt comes off of your body and zaps into the hole, like, as you leave, and you just swirl through the air. And on Oka's, like, wings flapping, and Oka just, like, flying through the air, like some darkened angel released from the bowels of heaven. We're gonna cut to another break. So we will be back in 10 minutes. It's 6:06 here. We'll be back around 6:16. Thanks everyone for tuning in so far. Hello, new viewers. We'll be back in 10. Love you so much. Enjoy the fan art reel. Speesh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the final part of our Arc 4 midpoint here at Transplanar RPG. So before we hop right back in, let's do content warnings. Content warnings for this episode and our campaign in general may include family trauma, relationship trauma, memory loss, nightmares, death, fantasy violence, gore, alcohol, drug and substance use, addiction, toxic and abusive relationships, self-destructive behavior, bloodletting, cults and cult-like behavior, and anxiety and panic attacks described in detail. So use !CW in chat at any time to get a full list of these content warnings, as well as !safety at any time to get a list of our cast's lines and veils, so you know what lines we definitely won't cross into no matter how dark things get. So with that out of the way, let's hop right back into the session. V. We are, I think, getting several games deep into your gambling spree against Queen Guo Ruchong. So tell me, what is the skill you're going to be relying on for the rest of the night? And we'll just continue to do opposed checks to see who has to divulge truths first.
Yeah, so this final round, I think V is going to rely a little less on magic and more her handiwork, where she's going to, when putting in tiles, it's supposed to be just like one tile at a time. You take a tile, you leave a tile, so on and so forth. So she's going to be actually palming several tiles that she wants to get rid of, and maybe like trying to palm a couple of tiles back, but making it look like she's just taking one. You always see just one as she's coming away, and she's just going back and forth trying to switch her tiles around as quickly as possible.
Okay, so sleight of hand, it seems. Okay.
Yes.
Go for it. Oh boy, what'd you get?
A nat 1, baby.
Ooh. Okay. I think what this means is she goads you into talking at length with her. So instead of like, I share a secret if I win, and then you share a secret if you win, it's sort of like she's baited you into a conversation just about secrets while playing. Because I think like she's noticing that you're like focusing on like the sleight of hand thing, so maybe she can like catch you a little off guard. So Queen Guo, as the two of you play against each other, and you're like, you know, like swapping and discarding and like picking up new tiles, etc., says to you, you claim the Paragons are back. And because, of course, you are beholden to the rules of this zone of truth here, you, at the very least, believe that what you're saying is true. So tell me, my good friend, as we play this game, how do you know that the Paragons, this children's tale, have returned?
Well, my friend, today's your lucky day, because like you, I would have been highly skeptical of such a claim that the Paragons are back. I don't even believe in the gods to begin with when I, just a few months ago, but yet, unbelievably, to at least myself, and perhaps to you in a moment when I tell you, you may be sitting in the room, and when I say maybe, I'm saying a very high likely chance that I, Valley, am a Paragon.
You cannot tell a direct lie, so can you sell to me as a GM how you're selling Valley as something that could feasibly come out of your mouth?
Oh, sure. Let's all right, let's just retcon the saying just straight up V.
Okay.
That I V, like she's trying to valley. That's actually how she probably do it. It's V, but she tried, and it came out as valley by pure coincidence.
My, V. A Paragon in my own home. Well, that is a marvel, isn't it? Why, tell me, what kinds of powers do you have as a Paragon?
Oh, quite unbelievable powers. I mean, I've got these two lovers inside of me, Scald and Nectus, and they're quite a pair.
The
Let me
gods
tell you,
aren't gone? What do you mean Scott and Nectus are inside you?
Don't you know what a Paragon is? Come on, this is like from what I thought you all like were learned people here. I thought anyway.
Don't insult my intelligence any further, V. I'm a generous woman, but if you make one more assumption about the boundaries of my knowledge, I will crush your head like a grape.
Fair enough, if that's your idea of a good time, or a bad time. Well, we can
Both.
avoid that.
So tell me,
Interesting.
how did you come to have Scott and Nectus inside you? Is that where the gods went? They didn't disappear, but they fled into the souls of mortals.
It works a bit. We're more like the echoes. I don't know exactly where they've gone, but we've got like these echoes still in Andake, and we're running around. We're trying to catch them, convincing them to like jump into us. You should see what happens when you put the wrong god in the wrong Paragon. It is not pretty, believe me. I've seen it. And as it relates to me, he's like on a roll now, just like playing and talking and saying, if it comes down to me, how did I get them? I had the worst week of my life, which apparently lasted months. But at the end of it, I somehow, after getting my heart literally ripped out of my chest, I convinced these echoes of Scald and Nectus to find a home. I mean, look at me. I'm a nice home. I'm like a cozy cottage situation. They
And now
agreed.
you're here to stop the assassination of our emperor, our illustrious one and only imperial leader, who is also a Paragon.
I mean, yes.
Let
This
me guess.
emperor.
Mongshan Jurdi.
It's a pretty good guess. I mean, congratulations, you win prize. Yes, you win.
And this entire time, Queen Guo's like wolf-like smile has just been growing wider and wider as you've sort of been like, you're back against the ropes as she's sort of been like pummeling you with questions that you can't seem to wiggle out of, right? I think that's what that nat 1 means. And she says, well. I am nothing if not a loyalist to our emperor. You are very lucky, V, that you decided to talk to me and not some of the other spouses who might be conspiring with their own agendas.
Oh, would you happen to have any by name that maybe we should check out?
Well, 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 well. You win this round, V, and you may ask me whatever your heart desires.
Well,
Make either a sleight of hand or a performance check. Or persuasion.
let's keep going with the sleight of hand.
Okay.
25.
That is a success. Motivated by this direct promise of, like, I'll tell you what you need to hear, I think you win. You beat her out. Like, your entire sleight of handing that, like, that game pays off. And you acquire Mahjong before she can lay out her final tile. Well, you look at that. Well, you did it. Tell me, V, what do you want to know?
Well, you've already told me that you would do anything in your power to protect the Emperor. You would, therefore, be very willing, I'm sure, to tell me who you think would have both the means and the motivation to try to assassinate the Emperor.
There is a long, poignant pause as you sort of see the cogs in Queen Guo's head working, as she's like thinking very hard, her arms crossed over her broad chest, staring into the green felt of the mahjong table. And then she says, "Suspicious things are afoot in the palace. They have been for quite some time. But suspicious things are always afoot in the palace. There are minor nobles, petty officials, scheming for power in every corner of this royal garden that we call home. Everyone has their own means, their own methods, but to slay the Emperor, that would take power, that would take magic beyond even my own comprehension, and perhaps even yours, V, though you are a paragon." Another pause. "She may have reason, but I cannot fathom how they would have means. There are two odd ducks in our family tree. I assume you're familiar with one of them, the fourth wife, Arden Hien, mother to Makwea Hien. You know the story?"
I've been getting to know it more and more as I've been here in your lovely palace.
She is the daughter not of a scholar, not of a noble, not of a royal or an efficient, but the daughter of Hien Hong, a widowed florist in Dokao. Not a drop of noble blood in her. Tell me, how do you think she came to be the fourth wife of the Emperor?
Her amazing sense of humor?
There's like a long pause that makes you feel really awkward, and then the queen throws her head back and laughs. Like, no. The Emperor met her by chance. Hien Hong, Arden's father, furnished the flowers for the Emperor's coronation. A massive honor. Arden attended this coronation to help with the flowers, and Emperor Zhen, it is said. Don't speak a word of this outside of this chamber, V, unless you want the full wrath of Queen Mua upon you. It is said that Emperor Zhen fell in love with Arden at first sight. Though, of course, love at first sight is almost always motivated by exterior beauty, I like to think, the romantic in me likes to conjecture, that the Emperor grew to see the kindness, the intelligence, the thoughtfulness of Arden underneath. I do rather think that Arden softened Emperor Zhen in a way that I have personally never been able to see, despite having intimate relations with the Emperor myself. And so, the Emperor made Arden their fourth wife. I don't know if Arden ever wanted this, necessarily. But I assume she did it for her father, so that Hong would be taken care of for the rest of his life. Now, of course, he lives on the outskirts of Dokao, tending to some little flower garden boarding home by his lonesome. Arden is the first black sheep spouse of the entire lineage. You want to know the other?
I
Consort Mu Piao, the fifth spouse. Excuse me, I lisped. Consort Mu Piao, the fifth spouse. You want to know why?
I'm riveted.
Moo, 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 moo. As a consort in the middle of the pecking order, Mu is blessed with imperial power, I would say, but cursed with mediocrity. Not by themselves, necessarily. They're quite intellectually agile. They put on this nervous, anxious front, but I know there's a schemer underneath. I haven't seen it with my own two eyes, but I don't believe anyone could be such a bumbling fool on purpose, except perhaps their son, the half-Ganassi boy, Prince Mu Ren. You see, Mu Piao's son Ren is neither strong nor weak necessarily. He's neither smart nor particularly dull. He's just sort of there. So Piao and everyone else knows that Ren's life will always be good, great even, but not the best. In fact, the only reason our illustrious emperor even married Piao in the first place is for political gain. Everyone in the palace knows that Piao's uncle was one of Emperor Ju's husbands, and Piao's direct family line are all wealthy merchants. Therefore, the Dowager Queen, Emperor Zhen's mother, Xiongdu, sought to solidify her daughter's economic power, and so arranged the marriage between Zhen and Piao. Are you keeping up?
Oh, I'm taking all the right here, right in the land of V brain. Never forgets.
I've always seen the ambition glimmering in the depths of Piao's eyes, but they've never had the means. They've never been strong enough. They've never been magically adept enough. They've never even been as good as gambling enough to gamble their way to the top. So if I had to cast suspicion on one spouse in particular, I would say the fifth spouse. The most forgettable one. The one that's always left out of discussions.
Well, you know what they say about a good mystery. It's always the one you least expect.
No, V, it's always the one you most middle suspect. And I think we're gonna cut to the royal library upon that. And Consort Mu Piao whisks the cover off of the jar of snacks, which is revealed to be a bunch of chilled olives. Okay, Ren, here's your favorite snacks. Would any of you like some olives as well?
Is Dewey also frozen in place?
Yes, they're the food stuff that most resembles eyes. And I kind of expected eyes to be in the jar, but this is the closest thing. And it's horrifying.
With all due respect, Your Highness. Your Highness? Is that... I'd have to decline. Olives aren't quite my thing.
Oh.
More for you, then, I suppose.
Oh,
Yeah, me as well.
That's all right. They're packed with nutrients and other delicious aspects, but they're not for everyone. Well, more for you then, Rennie.
Oh, thanks.
And Ren, the son, starts like reaching into the jar and eating the olives. And Consort Mu like turns to the rest of you and smiles, with like a toothy grin as they also reach into the jar of olives. They take one out of the jar and they go, "Oh, I'm very particular about how I eat these, actually. Yes." She pulls out a toothpick, spears it through the olive. They reach down to their side, and they pull out a martini glass. And they place the olive on top of the glass, which you notice the glass is chilled, and you're not exactly sure where they stored it, but they wait for the olive to chill up with the glass, and when it's up to temperature, they pick the olive back up and they eat it.
As soon as it hits their mouth, Dewey, you feel a boot on your foot. As Manaya is, like, shaking.
On Manaya stomping on Dewey's foot, we cut to Oka flying through the air. Oka, you're like a bird with a torn wing as you just like you like ricochet through the air, then maybe you catch yourself as like some lightning still sparking off your body, and you flap your wings once, twice to stabilize yourself. Where are you headed?
Oka is like the lightning rod of their personal storm right now, just above the palace, you know, like just like flying out of control, just back and like over this final part, because I imagine the first spouse's courtyard is furthest, like almost to where like the emperor's quarters would be. So they like fly over that like complex, just like sparking off themselves, and it's like they're like grabbing at their own clothes as they just like go like head over heels, and there's like one beat, and they like are just like they're like, stop it, stop! I said stop.
Vinash is screaming back at you inside your soul, going, hate, kill, hate, kill. It's just sort of like verbalizing that side of yourself, right? That does feel that. And I think because of that, you're kind of out of control. You're like whirling through the air. And I don't think you're even noticing where you're going, but you're going like maybe like dozens of miles a minute. Like, I don't know, like you're going real fast, like over like just tumbling to and fro.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just use they're like up really far, and you like if you get up higher, you can go over land faster, I guess, technically. So they're like really far up in the air, and the lightning just keeps going like crack, 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 like down, like they're just making their own thunderstorm.
Okay, I think you don't know how long you've been whirling through the air for, and you're not even sure where you are. It's dark, and the world around you is a blur of wind and sky and earth and tree. Like, you don't know where you are. You've been flying for, it could be 1 minute, it could be 10 minutes, when...
Why are you shaking that dice?
When something hits you. Something hard and sharp, and long, spears through your left wing and just tears a hole through it, right? And like feathers like explode in a puff, and you see your own like red blood just sort of spurt out into the air around you, and maybe like it hurts, right? And I need you to take 11 points of piercing damage from that attack. As you start to plummet to the ground and you're losing stability because your wing is injured.
Uh-huh. That wasn't was that from a guard tower?
Make a perception check as you whirl through the air, I think.
Unnatural 20?
You are not in the palace anymore. You have flown out of the palace, like past the guard towers. Maybe like you stabilize yourself for half a second and you see in the distance like a guard tower rising, maybe like a quarter of a mile away, if not farther away from the palace. You're tumbling through a stretch of wood that now it's sinking into your body like ice cold tendrils wrapping around your heart. This is the Sacred Grove, a part of the Silent Grove. That is closest to the palace, the Slumbering Palace, and where you were speared through the chest by the Telian 8 years ago. You crashed through bamboo stalks, right? The attack seemed to have come from underneath you, maybe maybe 24 feet away. You're not sure. With a 20, maybe like 24 feet away underneath you, and you seem to be crashing to the ground close to where the attack might have come from. What do you do?
Brace for impact the best I can. I think Oka's trying to do like damage control in the air, right? Like they like have like they're trying to like spread the wing to land. They have to like spread out so they can kind of like float down gently. But the wing that got speared through, their wings used to be incorporeal, but now that they are like tangible. I don't think they've ever been hurt in this way before, and it's making it really, really hard to fly. And like insofar as I think like they have to keep like pulling their wing in because it hurts, and they're like trying to get it off and away, and they can't just fly with one wing, and I think they just like literally like spiral into the ground, trying their best to catch themselves.
Yeah, you spiral toward the ground, and I think you hit it. But I'm not going to make you take bludgeoning damage from hitting the ground because you still have a working wing that like sort of breaks your fall. Maybe like you skid through the mud and like you crash through like a copse of bamboo like stalks and like we see like a line drag through the ground from where you crash landed and then skidded, and like you hit the bamboo and you're like like disoriented for maybe like half a second. And I need you to roll initiative immediately.
$22.
Okay, they go first. Okay, they're gonna attack.
No! Who's gonna attack?
Shooting out of the darkness, from behind you, so where your back is sort of up against the bamboo grove, is another one of these bolt things. Maybe a crossbow bolt is like the closest in terms of like how heavy it is. Like shoots through and spears your other wing with like anatomical precision. Like it hits you right in the joint. Right? And you realize the other attack also hit you right in the joint that like basically like broke and like disabled your wing. Your other wing is now disabled as well. It just smashes through it, and you're gonna have to take 9 points of piercing damage this time. As the bolt whizzes through the darkness, also this area is pitch black. Okay? You can't see anything. There's no torchlight here. There are no stars. The sun is set. So I don't think you can see what even hit you. And now it's gonna be your turn.
Oka like just surprised, like cries out in pain, you know, and like that wing also kind of like seizes in and like, you know, comes closer to them, and almost like they're using it to like shield themselves. Like the wings like come in and around them, and they scramble up. They technically still have their blood weapon active, and I think they maybe like it just like corporeated back into their body, but I think it just like rises out again, and they like just like take like a wide swing around themselves to just like try to orientate themselves. And I
do you want to use your blood? Do you want to use your blood magic to like bonus action make flames come up so you can see?
Oh, that is so smart. I do technically get one of them automatically when I use my culling edge. So yes. And I think like the light like flicks off, and immediately looking for a heartbeat. Like the sound, like as Oka's own like heartbeat like starts to jump and radiate, like they are also looking for the other one, I guess.
Okay, so make a perception check for free. This doesn't count as an action.
I'm gonna use my other point of inspiration. I need to see this. $12.
You feel a heartbeat. Okay? You feel a single heartbeat, not two, which is maybe good. You feel a single heartbeat maybe 15 feet away from you, so kind of close, like in the direction of where you're facing. And you also see, sort of in the diameter of where you're holding your blood weapon, a figure step into the dim light. You see your assailant. They're of middling height, maybe, around your height. And they seem to be wearing like a full-body cat suit or something. It's not super form-fitting. It just seems to be like covering their entire body, and they've got this like leather armor over it, draped over it. So like every part of their skin is covered. There's no exposed skin. And the two notable things. One, they're wearing a mask, similar to the Prince of Knives, but it's a very different kind of mask. It is a mask smelted from pure bronze alloy. And it's sort of like it's a very like human-like face on the mask. Maybe you startle for a second because you think that's their actual face, but no, it's just like a bronze, like human, like feature, right? Like over their face. You also notice that in one hand, they're twirling a small object that you think is maybe a dagger at first, but as it comes into closer periphery, you notice it's a hammer. And floating around them, sort of almost like fanning out, almost like a halo around their head and behind their body, are metal spikes, right? Like steel spikes. They are not crossbow bolts, they're spikes. And if you, with your 14, 15 perception, I don't know you can tell exactly what they are yet.
Well, they hurt. That much
Yes.
I know. Oka's still super disoriented. They take a few steps back, brandishing culling edge, and I think their voice is still this double layered snarl, with Vinash still fucking up their day, right? Who the fuck are you? What the fuck? What's wrong with you? I'm not a bird. Get fucked.
They do not say anything. They're completely silent. They do not respond to you. They twirl the hammer, and you see one of the spikes drop out of the air floating behind them, and they hit it with the blunt end of the hammer, and they send it toward you. It slices through the air, and because it's your turn, I think for flavor, you're able to dodge it, right? Like,
yeah, I was going to say that Culling Edge has a mechanic for that, yeah.
Yep, so tell me how you parry it.
Almost, I think Oka just back into form, and it just the blood. The blood, because it's made. Their weapon is made of blood, right? It almost reaches out to catch the thing, and they toss it aside with their entire arm. Like the blood is like an extension of their body, and then it solidifies black into a blade. What? Throwing thorns now? Who are you? What is this?
They advance on you. They don't answer you. They advance on you with a single mind intent, which in that moment is to kill you. And another one of the spikes drops out of the air, and they smash it at you again.
Can I try to parry again?
Yes.
Technically, I would roll. Let's see here. I would roll against your. I can use my reaction to expend a die to reduce the damage that I roll on my D8 plus my dex.
Yeah, if this is still your turn, I'm mostly doing this for flavor, so you can just parry it.
Great.
Just tell me how you do it.
Great. Oka also just, I think, cuts this one in half, right? And the fire in their blade, if this is a steel rod, just kind of melts as they slash through it. And they're starting to get mad. Fine. You want to fucking fight? You picked the wrong fucking day. And Oka will advance on them.
Okay, how are you attacking?
Viciously. And with the culling edge.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Unnatural 20.
That hits. So roll damage.
That sucks. It was only a 1. Sorry, I haven't rolled for damage in so long. I believe that is 27 points of damage.
Okay, what kind?
Of slashing and fire. 4 points of fire. 4 points of fire, 10 points of radiant, and the rest in slashing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so tell me how, I think as you lunge forward with Culling Edge, they start retreating as you're taking the offensive. And they are parrying you in such an interesting way. They don't actually parry you, they just dodge. They just sort of duck and weave out of the way as you're slashing and slashing, right? But I like to think of damage as several blows exchanged instead of just a single big gash and it does damage and they hit you back and it does damage. I think this is more dynamic. So you're exchanging blows with them. They dodge, they duck and they weave, but your Culling Edge strikes true. It goes through their defense, their fluid, almost water-like defense to hit where?
I think first in the shoulder that they're swinging their hammer with.
Okay. You hit that shoulder and you sort of cut open a gash along their armor and it perforates the leather armor, right?
Oh yeah, and you know that I get to use some shit when I do this, right? It's brand of castigation time. When I damage a creature, I can choose to sear my arcane brand into it. So I like, as like the blood goes, like the blood comes. Do they bleed?
Yes. And it's red.
Okay. That is somewhat that's helpful. And Oka kind of like latches onto it, like the weave just kind of like around the culling edge. Since it's made of their blood, it kind of like hooks them together.
Okay, yeah. And like you're now tethered to this person. So what does Brand of Castigation do? Is it the same thing you did to Kane?
Yes. I will be able to intrinsically know where they are, the direction that they are in, and when they deal damage to me, they will also take damage equal to my intelligence modifier, which is 3.
Okay, sounds good. So as your Brand of Castigation twirls their blood around and attaches it to you, are you grabbing onto their blood, or how's it connected to you?
I think just for flavor, it is like they're like holding onto it with their offhand, this like kind of rope that they made, as like the seal is kind of like forming in the wound.
Okay, as you grab onto their blood, you hear whispers emanating from their blood. These dark kind of mashed up gibbered whispers that don't really speak any sort of language I think you understand necessarily. It's just sort of like their blood is almost like your acute senses as a blood hunter know that there's something deeply fucked up about this person. Okay? And I need you to make an Arcana check.
A 9.
Feels a little bit like that piece of that empty monster, the face stealer that jumped into your soul. Okay? When you hold on to this blood, that's what rings familiar to you as these whispers start to like build up like around your ears. Is that your turn?
I believe that is all I can do on my turn.
Okay. Now that you're pretty much on them, they whirl around and they reach into like a hidden compartment like inside their leather armor, and they pull out a single golden spike. And this one looks different, real different from the others, okay? And they are gonna smash it, the blunt end of the spike, with their hammer and drive it toward you. And I need you to make a dex save.
Auto crit. I am not fucking touching that shit. I will be using the auto crit that we have on the board.
Okay.
And plus my dex, that's that altogether, since it's a save, 26.
Okay. It doesn't work. So to describe to me how you dodge it.
I mean, there's something going on here. And I think like the whispers, like they're holding on to the whispers, and there's I think sorry, the whispers like startle them so much that they like drop the tether between them. And I think just in that moment of like alarm, like just enough time to kind of like just whip out of the way.
Okay, yeah. You whip out of the way, and this like golden spike like whizzes past your body, and I think like lodges into the trunk of a tree, right? And just sort of sticks there. And this person's gonna like pause, and like you can't see anything through this like bronze mask, but they're gonna look at you for like a quick beat, and then they're gonna disengage from you and run after the spike. And I think they have enough movement to do that, but you get an attack of opportunity as they move out of melee range if you want.
Oh yeah, it's super feral time. I think Oka, like, as like the dots are connecting, right? Like that, whatever that is important to them more so than attacking me, which is their only thing. And I think Oka like doesn't even like swipe with their sword, but just like tries to like go after this person and like grab them, right? And like hold on to them.
Okay, so you're gonna try to grapple them? Okay, make a grapple check against either you have to make an athletics check, and they can dex or athletics out of you.
Oh, it's not very good. Like a 10.
That is not quite sufficient. As you lunge forward, like I think your arms grab air, and poof, you like fall into the ground almost like a failed rugby tackle. As they run over to the trunk, and they grab the spike with one hand and they wrench it out, right? And they're gonna like sort of like toss it from one hand to the other as they pick up their hammer again, and they get ready to like throw it at you once more. But now it's your turn.
Oh dear. Oh dear, 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 dear. Oh dear. What is that thing? What is it? Is there like, do I have any inclination of like what is happening here?
Okay. Make an investigation check.
I'll use my action for this. Use my grim psychometry, the knack for recalling the dark past of objects I'm touching or places I'm in, to focus on this like blood connection with this person, to try to get a read on them, like the way that their like shadowy blood is like tasting in my mouth.
Yes. Okay. So I think that would be an Arcana check with advantage.
$21.
Okay. This person is a person. They're not an emissary. They're not some sort of god. They're not a ghost or an undead like Rev. They're a person, like a living, normal person, but part of their soul or some aspect of their being has been imbued with empty magic, for lack of a better word. The same kind of magic that animates these empty beasts, and presumably the same kind of magic that Dr. Ting, back in the Court of Ravens, was experimenting with on his ship. Same kind of magic. And because it is taking your action, I'm also going to allow you to make an additional investigation check on the spike to see like what the hell that thing is.
$27. I rolled a natural 19.
It is a chisel.
It is a chisel.
It is a chisel. Do you have a bonus action?
I do have a bonus action.
Take it.
Oh, one prepared? No, I'm stressed. I like prepare to a chisel. That's all I got with the 27?
Okay. It's a chisel that has had something horrible done to it. And if it hits you, it's gonna be no good, very bad time for Oka.
Great. I'm gonna fucking run.
Okay. You disengage and you run?
Yeah. I think like a bolt of lightning like comes down between them. This like super strong bolt of lightning, right? Just like smashes down between them. And in that like bright flash of light, Oka is gone. They can't fly, so their wings are kind of like crashing into the bamboo around them, right? But they are like running like into the dark. And I think they are not going to snuff out their light because they need to see. But they are running now.
What's your speed?
35?
Okay. As you turn and flee, this massive bolt of lightning smashing down from the heavens, I think accompanied by a crack of huge thunder, like a massive crack of thunder, poof, and this like huge bolt of lightning slams down as you're basically calling on Vanash to save you, to get the hell out of there, and like a huge flash of light, like completely covers this entire scene as you turn and you book it and you run. And as you're huffing it, like through the sacred grove, like tearing past bamboo, like leaves slapping into you in the face, like maybe like your wings still kind of broken, like sort of like limply like dragging up behind you, and you're like panting. You're like, holy fuck, like what is going on? By the light of your fire, you see that same figure drop down into your path. Maybe you screech to a halt. And I need you to make a second dex save as they toss this golden chisel into the air and they smash it with their hammer. Because as you know, empty beasts thrive in the dark.
21.
Would you like to use inspiration?
Do I have any left? I thought I was out.
Chat redeemed a point for you.
Oh, God bless you, chat. I will, just in case, based on how you said that. That was not good. I'm so sorry, chat. That was a 5.
21. I'm so sorry, Oka. That is not sufficient. So I think what happens is this. It's like in bullet time, right? As there's like a clear ringing noise as the blunt end of this metal hammer hits the flat end of the chisel, and the spike sort of whirls through the air toward you. Like maybe you see your double pupiled eyes like widen as you're like trying to dodge out of the way. But the chisel spears you through the chest, exactly where the Telian had gored you, pretty much in this exact spot 8 years ago. And it rips out through your back. And we see from like a profile view, like Oka's blood shooting out the back as this chisel flies out. And I need you to tell me, Oka, what's the color of your soul?
I didn't prepare this beforehand because I wasn't expecting to be asked that. Gold. It's like gold.
Okay, the chisel, which was already gold, seems to glow like an even brighter gold, right? And you see like a darker vein of gold just sort of lash up. Well, you don't see this, but the audience does. Lash up the length of this chisel, sort of wrap around it. As what has effectively happened to you, Oka, as you stand there gasping for like a half second before darkness starts to close in around you, is a piece of your soul has been ripped out of your body and lashed to this chisel. You're not dead yet. You're not dead yet. But you are incapacitated. As you hit the ground completely flat. And you can sort of like feel your own blood pooling like against like the cotton of like your shirt and against your armor, and everything's starting to feel very cold and very small. You can feel Vinash sort of sparking weakly inside you, trying to keep your blood, like your heart pumping, like trying to stop your heart from like stopping, like sending little like electromagnetic like pulses to your heart. But every pump, more blood comes out, right? And like the smell of your own golden blood starts to fill this grove. As you sort of see, as you're like slumped back there, you sort of see these like boots approach you slowly, right, of your assailant, your killer. And you sort of see this person hold this golden spike intertwined with a piece of your own soul around it, carefully in one hand like it were like a precious jewel. This person carefully tucks it away into their cloak, and they squat down, and they pull out like one of the regular iron chisels, like floating around them. They squat down real low in front of you, and they speak for the first time. And their voice is distorted. Similar to the Prince of Knives, there's clearly some sort of distortion going on, so you won't be able to parse their identity. But they say to you, "Nice to meet you. I'm the Paragon killer."
Oh, God.
And as they lift the spike to deal the killing blow, you hear a voice you have not heard in almost a year. The voice of a certain half-orc monster hunter shout from across the grove, "Get the fuck away from Oka!" As Mercy's voice rings out across the silent grove. And we're gonna see you this coming Tuesday for the final episode of The Hounds of Mercy to wrap up what's happening with Oka. Thank you. That was our show. This was our midpoint. We love you all so much. We will be back for the rest of our main campaign next Saturday at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. That's going to be November 13th. I've been Connie, your GM, pronounced they, he, and she. You can find me on all the social medias, especially Twitter, at @byConnieChong. Going to pass along introductions to Lyra.
I'm hyperventilating, y'all. Hi. My name is Lyra. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her. I am the artistic director of Shout, Minnesota's trans and diverse voices in all trans choir based in the Twin Cities. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shout Minnesota. Erica, please.
I am Erica, she, her, and I have no thoughts. I am completely, oh dear. You can find me at Erica New Girl everywhere you might find me, and come hang out with me on Twitch sometime. Monday, 2:30 p.m. Central is my next stream. Max, please continue the shockery.
I'm Max. My pronouns are they, them. I play Dewey Quirk, a dude who needs to get himself a mercy in his life for when he gets killed. You can find me on Instagram at Starchmonger. I'll pass it to C.
I'm C. Hi, everyone. I use they, them pronouns. I rolled approximately 5 nat 20s this session, and yet I still died. You can find me drawing very trans, very gay art. Pie Sharp Art. You can find me screaming about this on our Discord in approximately 15 minutes. You can also find me playing as your beloved Monster Hunter Oka Hien. This Tuesday at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time with the Hounds of Mercy. I will be guest starring, I guess, as the Hounds come to save my life. Thank you so much. Help. I have nothing else to say. Connie, please.
You got it, friends. I hope that lore drop was big enough to satisfy our $200 donation goal reach. Thank you to everyone who donated today. We will be back next week and also this coming Tuesday, so mark your calendars for that. 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time for Tuesday, 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time for Saturdays. We're going to raid Persephoros. So stick around, even if you can't stick around for the entire raid. She's awesome. Toss her a follow, say hello, say Transplanar sent to you so she knows who we are. She's an amazing trans black streamer and TTRPG player. She was on freaking Dimension 20 recently for the 7, so she's so talented. She's playing Pokemon Sword and Shield right now. So we're gonna launch that raid. We love y'all so much. See you Tuesday and Saturday. Peace.